In the opening game of the season, the Denver Gold had a chance to win against Philadelphia, but a last-second Ken Johnson pass for Larry Canada just missed. Denver lost 13-7. In their second game, almost 42,000 watching, a Denver field goal try in the second quarter. Boston's Eric Price slashes in, blocks the kick. Ben Needham catches it, races 68 yards for a Boston touchdown. Denver lost 21-7. Last week, the Chicago Blitz, after an impressive opening win, went to Arizona. The Wranglers, 18 points in the last 7 minutes, capping a stunning win with this 33-yard field goal by Jim Asmus. Upset Chicago 30-29. Today, the Blitz come home to Chicago with this comment from Coach George Allen.
I really love this. It's a tough job. It's the toughest job I've ever had. And the tougher the job, the better I like it. Coming back to Chicago is the other part of it. And it's an emotional thing to come in here, and because we played some games here with the Bears. We played the All-Star game in here. And the big thing is I'm coming back as an owner, coach. And that was one of my goals in life, to have my own football team.
ABC Sports presents the third week of the new United States Football League, the USFL. From Chicago, the Denver Gold and the Chicago Blitz. Soldier Field, Chicago, talking about spring football. Ho, ho, ho. That is snow, folks. Snow covering Soldier Field, and it's still coming down. And we're going to have some fun this afternoon. Lake Michigan, you can just barely discern its presence beyond the walls of Soldier Field. The wind has been whipping around for the last couple of days. Right now, the temperature's about 30 degrees. The wind blowing briskly out of the northwest. Considerable humidity, as you can see, meaning the chill factor is probably about 15 degrees. And they are now talking in terms of having up to 3 inches of snow accumulate before night sets in. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to spring football. What happened? I'm Keith Jackson, and we hope we'll be able to see the field this afternoon to describe things for you. Very quickly, a couple of games that happened last night. Oakland beating Michigan 33-27, and Los Angeles lost its first game last night as the upstart Arizona Wranglers won again, beating them 21-14. You now have a three-way tie out in the Pacific Division. In the meantime, George Allen comes home after 20 years. Remember when George was assistant coach for George Halas and the Chicago Bears, and he wanted to move to Los Angeles, had a big lawsuit and things were going on? Well, George left Chicago with fanfare, and now he has come back to Chicago with fanfare, with his own football team, as he said. The old Soldier Field Arena, one of the most legendary, I guess, of all the arenas in the world. And this young man sitting next to me, Lynn Swann, when he was a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, had the distinction of playing in a football game here at Soldier Field. It was rained out in 1976.
That was the Chicago All-Star game, and as defending champions of the Super Bowl, we had to play those young men. And that wind was coming down and just swept across the field. We could barely see the other side. But that game has some similarities to this game, in as much as it was the old professional Steelers against the young All-Stars. Denver's got a defensive team that has combined experience of about 18 years, and Chicago's defense, well, has about 70 years of experience. George Allen's teams have always been the kind that had a great deal of experience, but also on his offensive team, he's got a weapon that's a young one, and that's number 2, Tremaine Johnson.
Now, you were a wide receiver. Johnson is a wide receiver. His speed is probably proximate to what yours was. But you played at about 175, 178 pounds. This guy goes up around 190 or better.
I wish I had Tremaine Johnson's speed. He's about a 4.35, 4.4 in the 40-yard dash, a big, strong young man, and he's capable of breaking tackles, and more importantly than that, he's an aggressive ball player. He goes after the big catch, and he's made them so far in this league.
Now, Greg Landry is the man that throws the ball to Tremaine Johnson. Greg, of course, had 14 years in the NFL with Baltimore and Detroit. He is obviously he's literally a coach on the field, and I'm sure that's what George Allen had in mind when he signed Greg Landry to be his quarterback. And I talked to Greg yesterday about his role with the Blitz.
I've played a long time, in 14 years, and now this 15th year. I think that in the last 2 games, our offense has done well. I think that what George has me in that position for is to settle down some of the younger players. I'm happy we've been able to move the football with so many young players on offense, and I like to think that I've had a small contribution in helping do that. But I think you were right that he's using me as being a stabilizing force for the younger players, and so far it's been rewarded.
The man who will be quarterbacking the Denver Gold today is Ken Johnson. Took over the job in the second half last week for Denver. He has 9 years of NFL experience out of the University of Colorado. So we've got 2 old pros pulling the trigger today as we'll play in the snow. The officials for today's ball game: Bill Parkinson, the referee; Ed Manning, the umpire; Jack Pitkus, the head linesman; line judge Tony Viteri; back judge Hunter Jackson; Weldon Waits, the field judge. I hope they brought their warm clothes. The Chicago Blitz will kick off, and doing the kicking for Chicago, and that's part of the story of the team today, John Rivetto, who had some time with the Chicago Bears. Frank Corral has been put on the disabled list for the moment with a knee injury. So Rivetto is handling the place kicking, and Frank Garcia will do the punting, and returning for Denver will be a speedster out of the University of Houston, Lonell Fee. Had 2 years of professional experience. And Rivetto of Southwest Louisiana now kicking off to Lonell Fee, who's averaging just over 23 yards, and he almost whiffed it. Ball goes bouncing down the field, ricochets around. It is picked up by Vic James. Has a terrible time getting a handle on it, and the Denver Gold, a team that has played with virtually no luck so far in this new USFL, is going to start in the hole again today. The offensive unit: Ken Johnson at quarterback, Harry Sidney and Larry Canada, the running backs. Fee will be at wide receiver, Vic James, the split end, and Bob Nazolik will be the tight end. And so here's Ken Johnson now getting his first start behind Steve Rogers, Glenn Hyde, Tom Davis, Ron Hassauer, and Doug Hoppick. The big guys up front. Just holding on to the football here in the first possession is going to be a problem. 30 degrees and snowing like the dickens in Chicago. And Denver is working into a very stiff wind as Larry Canada gets it outside, and as they start from about the 12-yard line, and the yard markers are kind of hard to see for the moment. He did not get back to the line of scrimmage. Lorch, Ehrman, Lathrop, Ayu are the 4 people up front, with Ed Smith, Jim Von Horst, and Stan White, the linebackers. Your secondary: Virgil Livers, Don Schwartz, Luther Bradley, and Maurice Tyler. So he did not get back to the line of scrimmage as he tried to run it around the corner. It is second down and about 13. And it's just plain flat miserable. That's what it is. Motion, Sammy Green. Johnson hands it off. Ball goes to Harry Sidney. And he's down at the 6-yard line as Don Schwartz, 4 years professional experience out of Washington State, makes the tackle.
Keith, both these teams came in passing quite a bit, throwing to the backs out of the backfield, hitting their receivers downfield. And weather like this, hitting those passes to the backs becomes increasingly more and more difficult. So I think in this ball game, we might find out who has got the best running attack.
Well, field position is going to mean so much. I mean, literally, from where Denver is, if they don't do something on 3rd down at about 16, I mean, you know Chicago's got to get a chance at the ball no deeper than Denver's 40-yard line. Well, they try to look for a little room up the middle. Canada pops it out of there and gets it out to the 15. They had Larry at the line of scrimmage, but he broke the tackle. And finally, Virgil Livers brings him down up around the 15, but it is well short of the first down. So here's Denver now to punt, and they've got to kick the ball into a fierce wind. By that, I mean it's 20, 25 miles an hour. Steve Gortz will do the punting. Lenny Willis will be the deep man to return it. Gortz out of Nevada, Las Vegas. Problem right here is got the snap back to it. Good snap. Pressure zone. Kick is out of there. Good kick. The wind's going to hold it up. And it's going to hit the ground, and they let it bounce. And that's always a mistake on artificial surface. A big mistake by the Chicago Blitz as they let the ball bounce, and Denver's punter gets 20 yards on the bounce out of it to total 45 yards on his first punt. And Red Miller standing there on the sidelines looking at Gordstick. Well, see, I told you, just have faith. We'll get a good bounce sooner or later. The offensive unit for Chicago. Landry opens at quarterback. Tim Spencer and Kevin Long, the running backs. Tremaine Johnson wide on one side, Wayman Buggs the other, Paul Ricker the tight end. First snap for the Blitz in their first home game in the snow. And it comes from the 39. Ball goes inside, and Kevin Long, 26 years of age, 225-pound fullback out of South Carolina, 5 years of experience, carries the ball, and Bearfield brings him down. Big John made the tackle, outside linebacker for Denver. The offensive front for Chicago. Rob Taylor, Mark Stevenson, Wally Pursuit, Tim Norman, and Nick Iyer. Respectively, 281, 276, 257, 273, and 275. Gain on the play, about 4 yards. Maybe 3.5 roughly. Motion now. And the handoff goes inside again to Tim Spencer, who is the rookie out of Ohio State, weighing at 210 pounds, and he slashes it up across the 45 to the 47. Larry White, Lavelle Short, and Calvin Turner are the 3 down linemen out of the 3-4, with Bearfield, Putchote, Kyle Whittingham, and Greg Gherkin, the linebackers. Secondary is Lewis, Dumars, Haar, and Martin. Dumars leading tackler on the team. And it is, for a fact, a wintertime day on the first day of spring. 3rd and short, 3rd down and about 2. From the 47. And it's Long carrying. And he's close to his first down. If they mark him at the 50, he will have his first down.
Well, if he has that first down, it's due strictly to the offensive line charge, getting off the ball, driving the defensive line back. And it's tough to get footing in this kind of weather if you're the defensive line and the offensive line. Well, so if they can get underneath them, they can drive them and almost slide them back.
They were trying to guess, and I guess you do guess, don't you, Lynn, on what kind of shoe you really want. Ice, if there's ice, it's one thing. If there's snow, that's something else. And there was a little glaze of ice on it when they first came out. Landry back to throw his first pass. Got a man. First down. Pass is drilled and caught by Tremaine Johnson at the Denver 39.
When he catches this ball, he is just cradling this ball. Your hands are frozen, they're cold, the ball hurts when you catch it. So you run a simple pattern, you get open, you catch it with your arms, your body, you try and protect it because it'll be easy to strip it out. And he did a fine job that time. And
going in this direction from left to right, they're going with the wind. So if you're going to throw it, you want to throw it going this direction. Coming the other way, it'll turn a perfect spiral into a knuckleball after 10 yards. Landry again, loops it out there, has a man, loses its footing. Wayman Buggs couldn't make his cut back to the ball, and the rookie out of Vanderbilt watches it slide away.
That play, the defensive cornerback came up and tried to get a jam. Wayman Buggs and the receivers for the Blitz have been working on getting away from that jam, and he got to the outside, did a good job, but he just couldn't make a play for the ball.
You can see there the Chicago experience story. The defense, actually, with certain people in there, it goes as high as 69 years of experience on that defensive unit. Second down and 10. From the Denver 39, Landry tiptoes out to his left, sets up, loops it downfield. The pass is caught, and it's caught at about the 34 by Wayman Buggs. Buggs, playing the flanker position for Chicago, is 6'2", 200 pounds, and that's pretty big for a guy sitting in the slot.
Yeah, that's real big. This guy's a good blocker, too. Here, a simple rollout by Landry, trying to find some time. Again, it's not a long pass, just a short one. A lot of touch on that pass, and you made a fine stab when you pulled it in.
You know what? It's snowing in the booth. Snow is whirling in through the open booth. I feel like it's going down my collar. Hearty testimony to the spirit of Chicago football fans to come out here on this day, but there's a goodly crowd of them out. And they cheer mightily as Kevin Long, the fullback, slants it over the left side. And once you get a half a step on somebody, especially an offensive lineman, if he gets just the slightest edge in making the first step, he's going to be able to handle the defensive people all right.
And if he gets around that corner and he's heading north-south to that end zone, he's got a big, big jump on him. As you can see the picture of where we are.
Boy. Chicago now moving the football. They've got their second successive first down. The ball is at the Denver 28. Of course, the Denver folks are used to this. They've had a lot of snowstorms this spring. First down for the Blitz, and Landry turns, gives the ball. Inside, Kevin Long. Big block on the left side by Mark Stevenson, Rob Taylor. And that's a big gain. That's another first down for Chicago.
That was a fine job of that offensive line. A truck could have driven through that hole. As Long takes it, he's just looking for the end zone. Nobody touches him, and he gets upfield. And you see now, like we talked about just a few minutes ago, he's running towards that goal line. He doesn't have to make any cuts, and he picks up more yards.
And the ball is sitting exactly on the 15. Long now with 4 carries and 25 yards in this first quarter of play from Soldier Field in Chicago. Handed off again to Long. He's down to about the 10. So that even in the snowy, slick conditions, they're gobbling up about 5 yards on first down.
Keith, earlier you started talking about shoes, and you're right. A lot of it is guesswork. Most of the companies all make a shoe that is specifically designed for bad weather. But each individual, depending on what position, how he plays, how often he's going to make a cut, has to find a shoe that fits well for him, and none of them are perfect.
That's right. Second down and 5 from the Denver 10. Denver now with a 6-man front. And it pays off for them as Long, slashing over the right side, gets 2 down to the 8-yard line. So that time the Denver defensive people gambled a little bit, and coming up out of his free safety position for support is a rookie from UCLA, Tom Sullivan. And Tom Sullivan may turn out to be one of the stars in the USFL because he is a hard-nosed kid. Sully, number 32. Third down. They need 3. And caught behind the line of scrimmage by Lavelle Short. Ball is given off to Long, and the big guy from Colorado, who played 2 years in the NFL, steps in to make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Lavelle Short. And that brings Chicago's kicking team onto the field.
That was a very excellent play by Lavelle Short. He just handled the center, stepped right in, made the tackle in the backfield.
John Rivetto was 3 for 14 when with the Chicago Bears. And John heard a lot of noise when he was kicking for the Bears. This will be a 27-yard effort. Tim Cagle, ex of Notre Dame, holding. The kick is up, and he drills it through. He didn't get a lot of it, sort of line drive, but it works for him, and the Chicago Blitz takes the lead 3-0 with 6:16 to go in the first quarter. Nothing. Chicago getting on the board. Rivetto's 27-yard field goal, 6:16 to go in the first quarter. Rivetto is going to kick it off now. He calls his people in and says, hey guys, I may not get this thing to go very far, so let's not overrun it. At number 42 there, Jim Stone. Many of you may remember him with that number as he wore the green of Notre Dame, or the blue and gold, if you will. Back to receive the kickoff is Lonell Fee. Played for Bill Yeoman at Houston. Vic James, number 81, is also back there, along with David Martin. And they're standing now up around the 10-yard line. And did they field it? No, it went right through their hands, and it's going to go off the field of play. And so it'll be Denver's ball, first down at the 20. The wind is, the flags around the stadium are just standing straight out. It's got to be blowing at least 20 miles an hour. And you can see the snow for yourself. Obviously, it's quite slick. Timeout, 6:07 to go, and the Denver Gold will go to work in their second offensive possession from the 20. While we've been away, the snow machine has come out, and he's run down the sides of the field and cleared both goal lines. Ever optimistic. Here's Ken Johnson now, the second offensive possession for Denver. Harry Sidney and Larry Canada are the deep people. And from the 20, ball is handed off to Canada. Tries to slide outside. That does for about 2 yards. Let's talk about the footing and the circumstances on the field. Kevin Long visits with our Tim Brandt on the sidelines.
Kevin, there is a lot of snow on that field. How is that footing?
Well, it's kind of real slippery right now, so we're really concentrating on making the best cuts and, make sure we cover up on the ball both ends when we're carrying it out there.
Does that change your offensive thinking a lot?
Well, we stay on the ground a little more than we probably would have just, the first couple of series.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, Keith.
Can you imagine Tim Brandt started the day in a pair of loafers?
I saw him changing in the hotel.
Second down at about 8. Outside it goes to Larry Canada. Canada, the veteran from the Denver Broncos. 28 years of age, out of Wisconsin, 4-year pro, brought down by Ed Smith and Maurice Tyler. He is short of the first down, but now the Denver Gold with an opportunity to roll up their first down of the ball game as it's 3rd and short.
Even under the bad weather conditions and trying to establish more of a running game, as Chicago's offense did in its first possession, you still have to try and open up that defense a little bit. So you go for the safe, high percentage passes, the short ones.
Boy, they'd be hard. You really have to throw it hard to get 10 yards out of a pass going into this wind right now. 3rd down at about 2 from the 28 of Denver. Give it to Canada again, and Larry is caught behind the line of scrimmage. He really didn't have much of a chance as Jim Fonhorst, the middle linebacker, 240-pounder out of Minnesota, came blowing in there and caught him back around the 27, and so Denver now is going to have to punt it again. The last time, Chicago let the ball drop, and it bounced about 25 yards. I bet you they catch it this time.
Yep. Here they just try and take it a bit to the outside and string out the defense, but Fonhorst just comes streaking across parallel to the runner, steps right in, makes a tackle.
Steve Gortz standing back for the snap. Going upfield, and it trickles out of bounds. He didn't get a whole lot out of that one. He couldn't get it up in the air. The wind just flat knocked it down, and it bounces out at the Denver 48. 21 yards on the punt into the wind.
Al Michaels in New York with this update. Across the Hudson at Giant Stadium, Tampa Bay unbeaten coming in, getting this touchdown pass from John Reeves to Greg Boone, made the 2-point conversion, had a field goal earlier. They lead 11-0 first quarter. Let's go back to Chicago.
Massive, the Chicago cheerleaders. I don't know how much they're being paid, but whatever it is, it ain't enough to be out there today.
They ought to have some foul weather gear for this afternoon.
First down. Chicago's ball. Denver 48. Chicago with the wind at their back. 3:55 to go first quarter. He's not going to do much going into the wind. Greg Landry back to throw it on first down. He goes short. About 12 yards, and it is complete to Tremaine Johnson. And he's got a first down for Chicago. He's just taking what they're giving him right now.
Well, the cornerback gets way off Johnson on this play. He doesn't want to give up a lot. He knows he's got great speed, so he's respecting that. And when you respect the speed of a receiver and give them a troon, he can nitpick you to death with the short passes down the field.
That's exactly what he's doing, too. Will Lewis, the cornerback, defending on that side for the Denver Gold. And it's first down for the Blitz. And Landry's pass to the sidelines, and it's off the hands of Kevin Long, the fullback, swinging around to the right side. I have to really look a little hard. I'm almost at the point where I've got to count stripes in order to figure out exactly where they are.
Take it down. Well, the Chicago offense is opening up a little bit here. I think it might have changed their strategy in so much as if they believe they can get up quickly on this ball club, get an early lead, then maybe they'd sit on the ball and run it for the rest of the afternoon.
Ball is just inside the 37 of Denver. Second down and 10. Started out with a 6-man front, now drop off into the short zone. Landry gets some heat from the backside, and down he goes. And he got slammed pretty hard and dropped at the 43 by Andy Poremba, a rookie out of Colorado State.
That time the receivers were just covered downfield. Landry couldn't find an open man, and he just came around the backside and made a fine play.
And it brings up third down, a loss back to the 43, so he's looking at third down at about 15. That is the 8th time this season that Greg Landry has been caught behind the line of scrimmage. This is game number 3 in the USFL. And they're playing in the snow at Soldier Field, and he goes deep down the middle, and it is caught for a touchdown by Lenny Willis. Had been playing the other side on Tremaine Johnson. He had come back to this side, and he picks up Lenny Willis coming down. And when they bumped, that broke Lenny Willis loose for the score.
And pretty much he had single coverage, and he just got behind his man. He shows excellent judgment in making this catch. The defensive back was right on his back. He actually slowed up, let the defensive back bump him for a second. Then he's fed up, made the play on the ball, and into the end zone. Very headsy ball player. Excuse me.
And it is 9-0 with 2 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the first quarter. And John Rivetto comes in for the extra point try. He'll hit it out of the hold of Tim Cagle. Snow continuing to accumulate, continuing to come tumbling down out of the springtime sky. The kick is good. And so the Chicago Blitz, with a strong wind at their back, have run up a 10-0 lead here in the first quarter. Well, there's a reflection of a brave soul, but despite all of that effort at joy, I think you can detect misery off the visage. As the wind continues to blow, the snow is falling, and we've got 2:35 to go in the first quarter of play with Chicago on top of Denver 10-0. Your offense can work with the wind at your back going into it. Unless you can blow them away off the offensive line and run the ball, you got almost no chance. This time Denver picks it up, and they're going to get decent field position out of it. Glenn Ford out of Lenore-Ryan College in North Carolina carries it back, and he gets it up to about the 35-yard line. So 2:25 to go, and I am sure that Denver is looking forward to when they can turn around and go the other way. There's the numbers on Chicago's touchdown strike of 42 yards. Chicago with the wind at its back, 102 total yards in the first quarter. Denver, 12 total yards in the first quarter. But again, I say to you, going into the wind is a virtual impossibility to throw the ball with any degree of effectiveness. So they're trying to run it, and they haven't been able to get much footing and get much effort off the... Oh, they get a big hole over the left side for Harry Sidney, and he breaks it big, and he is just barely caught from behind. Kit Lathrop from Arizona State. If he doesn't run him down from behind, Harry Sidney scores a touchdown right there for the Denver goal. But they've got a first down on the play at the Chicago 30.
Oh, they did a great job, and you're seeing Lathrop, number 7, just getting screened out, and he couldn't make the play. Sidney just bowls his way through a couple of ball players, and here, if it had been a dry field, they never would have caught him.
No, he scores on a dry field, no question about it. So a big play for Denver goal. It's like I said, if you can't run the ball, you're not going to do much going from right to left in this kind of weather. Just keep it inside, give it to Sidney. And Larry Canada has been doing most of the ball carrying for Denver, but now Sidney getting a chance, gets a couple of yards. Lenny Willis scored the touchdown for Chicago. Here he is with Tim Brandt.
Lenny, tell us about that touchdown play.
Well, it was supposed to be a turn and go, but unfortunately I didn't have to turn. It was man-to-man coverage, and through the grace of God, I caught the ball. In this kind of weather, it's kind of hard, but like I say, through the grace of God, I caught the ball.
You've got the advantage with the snow, though. He's backpedaling.
Yeah, that's true. I know where I'm going, he doesn't, so fortunately, that's it.
Okay, Keith.
Thank you, Timmy. Second down and 8 for Denver at the Chicago 28. Give the ball to Sidney again. Sidney tries to go to the right side, and Stan White, the veteran out of Ohio State, Minnesota, right there to get him. Where else did he play? Detroit. 33 years of age, still a very effective defensive football player. Sidney now, with 4 carries of the ball game, has 40 yards. And you've got Tom Mayer going in at tight end for the Denver goal on 3rd down and 5.
Keith, in terms of strategy, if you're going into the wind and you're only going to run the ball, if you can score, figuring you're going to score with the pass going the other way, that can be a great advantage for that team.
But it can. Saw Red Miller there with the snow beginning to pile up on his head. Here goes Kenny Johnson. He's got to try to put it up. He sets up a screen for Sidney, but there are an awful lot of red shirts out there looking for him. And Ed Smith among those that get to him short of the first down. They'll be looking at fourth down and short. They're inside the 25, down around the 24. Well, might as well go ahead and go for it.
At this point, they should.
They send Brian Spielman out. So they're going to try to kick it. I'll tell you one thing. He better have a cannon for a leg. If he can get it through here. Brian Spielman out of Capitol. Attempted one from 40 yards and missed it. This is a 39-yarder. Hold is good. He slips and falls down. The kick. He's got a cannon. He knocked it through, and it just barely cleared and fell over the goalpost. So he hits it into a 20-mile-an-hour wind from 39 yards, and it's a 10-3 ball game. And he was laying flat of his back as the ball went off. Watch him now.
Last week, we saw Dave Trout try and kick one that the wind just stopped in midair. And I wouldn't have bet on Spielman being able to make this one as the ball almost slips away from the holder. And he just drives it, slips, and he drives it low, right through the uprights. Oh, what a lucky man.
Well, on the final play of the first quarter, Brian Spielman knocks it through the uprights from 39 yards into a howling wind and gets Denver on the scoreboard. And now the goal with the wind at the back. Spielman comes forward and hits it up in the air. That's the first kick we've really had in the air all day. Returned by Lenny Willis. And he comes it up to about the 30-yard line. Now to New York.
Boston, the Breakers home opener. Score tied 3-3 late first quarter. Boston driving. John Walton back to pass, but his pass intercepted by number 21, Doug Green. Two teams in the final minute of the first period tied 3-3 at Nickerson Field. Let's go back to Keith Jackson at Soldier Field.
Looks like they've got nice weather.
Something there we don't have.
All right, now it's Chicago's turn to go into the wind. And Chicago Blitz leading Denver by a score of 10-3 as we start the second quarter of play. And coming outside with it, Kevin Long, number 48. And Long is rolled out of bounds after he picked up 6 yards. And here are the statistics from the first quarter of play.
And the stats are very indicative of this weather, as we see that Denver, who did not have the wind, rushed for 54 yards, of which Harry Sidney had 4 carries for 40 yards and only 2 yards passing. Where Chicago began opening up the short passing game, have gained 63 yards in the first half, a total of 95 yards in total offense, and 10 points on the scoreboard.
It's amazing, actually. Even though we've only played 15 minutes plus, there's still no turnovers in the ball game. You'd think in this kind of a weather condition, the ball will be bouncing all over the place, but they've handled it very deliberately so far. No gain on that play by Long. Here's Tim Brandt now with the hero for Denver, Brian Spielman.
And he is that, Keith. It was a tough field goal. How tough was it with that wind blowing in your face?
Real tough, real tough. You just got to keep your head down, hit the ball, and just hope for the best. And on that particular kick, I knocked it in, so that's about the best I can do.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian.
I wouldn't have given him any chance. Put 39 yards out. Sure did hit it. Third down and 4. Landry's going to put it up. Goes short, got his man, pass caught, first down to Tim Spencer. Wheeling out of the backfield. And so Landry, who has always had a great arm, showed you one there as he rifled it to Spencer.
Yes, and it was Tom Sullivan that made the tackle, and the receivers came out with bumper run coverage. Spencer just gets downfield, hooks it up right in front of Sullivan. All he can do is make the tackle.
See what happens to the ball, though, when you've got to throw it into that. It started out as a perfect spiral, but the guy he got to Spencer with a knuckleball.
Get my duck gun out.
Yeah. So they've got a first down. Ball is up around the 43, and carrying the ball, Kevin Long, and Long is really belted by Kyle Whittingham and Putt Choate. Whittingham out of Brigham Young University, a rookie, and Putt Choate out of SMU with 1 year in professional football before coming to Chicago. Of course, the makeup of this Chicago football team is interesting, mainly because George Allen is the coach of the team. Of course, George very seldom does anything on a straight line.
Behind the goal!
He had arranged some of the doggonedest traits you'll ever can imagine. But he got the people that he wanted. In on that play, about 3 yards, second down and 7. Carrying here, Tim Spencer hit behind the line of scrimmage, stripped, Putt Choate, 6-footer, 230 pounds, came firing in and got him from his inside linebacking position.
That time, Greg Landry pitched that ball about 7 yards into his own backfield. And he's running parallel. He's not turning upfield. It's not a great tackle, but under these conditions, it's just enough to throw him off balance, put him on the ground, trips him up.
Knocked him down back on the 39, so they're looking at 3rd down now and long. 3rd and 14. Unless they get the big play, the Denver Gold figures to get the football, pretty good field position. Tremaine Johnson, Lenny Willis, Wayman Buggs, 3 wide receivers as they go to trips. And Greg Landry obviously plans on putting it up. No, he doesn't either. He gives it off to Kevin Long, and Long is knocked down. Well short. Got back to about the original line of scrimmage as Kyle Whittingham, the inside linebacker, stayed at home and made the tackle. So now let us see what Chicago can do with the howling wind that's coming out to do the punting. Frank Garcia, he just came over. He's out of Arizona and was just signed, in fact, verified this morning, replacing Frank Corral. And Frank, who started out doing double duty for Chicago, has a banged-up knee. David Martin is the man deep for Denver to return it.
Confidence. You need confidence to kill the punt in this weather.
You do. Looks to me like Garcia. Oh, he drops the ball. And Denver gets a break.
That is the same as a turnover.
Yes, sir. The Denver Gold gets the break. They'll get the football just inside Chicago's 30 as Garcia drops the ball. Snap was perfectly good.
Hands are just cold. He couldn't hang on to it. And when it's cold like this, that ball gets awfully hard.
And slick.
Doesn't have much time here to do anything except fall on it, prevent the quick touchdown.
So, here's Denver with a rather glorious opportunity, all things considered, with 11 minutes and 3 seconds to play in the first half. Handoff goes to Harry Sidney, gets to the outside. It's a foot race to the corner. Touchdown! Don Schwartz, the strong safety, was the man supporting on that side, and he just could not change direction to go back and get him.
Sidney just gave him the old dip move. He gave him a little move to the inside. He did the same move twice and took the corner and the linebacker, made them both go inside, also helped him to set up his blockers. Then he just sprints to the outside, makes a run for the score. Excellent play on his part, and one that just shows that he's got a little confidence in what he can do on a bad field.
Harry's got a heck of a day going, Swanee. He's carried the ball 5 times for 70 yards and a touchdown. Jeff Knappel holds. The kick is up. The kick is good. 10 minutes and 54 seconds to play in Chicago on a snowy first day of spring, and we're even at 10. A 10-10 ball game at Soldier Field in Chicago as Harry Sidney breaks a run around the right side for 39 yards and a touchdown. And I'm surprised that they're able to handle the ball as well as they're handling it. It's so cold now, they must be getting a little bit of formation of icy crust on it because they've now come out with the blade, and they're running the truck with the blade in front of the sweeper as Brian Spielman is teeing it up to kick it off. So it is anything but comfortable down on the field, but they're doing surprisingly well with it. It is Lenny Willis who caught the touchdown pass for Chicago, the deep man to accept the kickoff.
Lenny's got his gloves on so he can better handle this, and the people up front on that squib kick right there if it's going down the middle, what they can do for them is knock the ball down, slow it down.
Yep.
Be a bit of a backstop so that the man deep can get a handle on it.
All right, we're going to kick it again as the ball goes out of bounds. Brian Spielman literally bouncing it down the field. Let's spend a moment with Tim Brandt now.
Harry Sidney is with me, and Harry, everybody says how slippery this field is, and yet you picked up 75 yards. You look like no problems.
Well, it is slippery, but I run kind of flat-footed, so it's kind of, I got good balance. I guess going to school in Kansas, you got to walk on the snow, you know. But it's just good.
How's that ball? Is the ball getting slippery?
It's your hands getting a little cold, and, you know, and it gets a little slippery. But if you run carrying it with two hands, it's not so bad.
Okay, Harry Sidney. Keith.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Stop it, Harry.
That's the first time Mom, Dad, we've had 3 ball games.
That was a heck of a run, though. He's turned in 2 big runs for them so far. They cost Denver 5 yards for having kicked the ball out of bounds, and Brian Spielman now will tee it up again, and the Blitz move up a little bit. And here it comes on the ground, and it is fielded way short. Caught up around the 32 and returned by Jim Stone, ex-Notre Damer. Out of Seattle, Washington, he gets it up. And a fumble. Did they fumble the ball?
Nope. There was a little bit of a scuffle going on out there. These 2 teams scrimmaged twice before the regular season began, and there were more fights between these 2 teams than anything else. And there we almost saw another one. For some reason, they just don't like each other, Keith.
Oh, well. Tampa Bay out to an 11-0 lead over New Jersey. Washington, Boston are 3-3 in the second quarter of play. And here's Chicago now working into the wind on first down. And they just stay very conservative with it. Hand it away to Spencer. Spencer tries to go straight up. Can't do it. Goes outside. It's Kevin Long it is. Can't do much with it. Gets a couple of yards on it. Come on, Dave! They started at about the 39, and the football is now sitting up at the 42, so give them about 3 yards on that carry. I have to count the yard markers. I can't see the numbers anymore. Talking about 3 inches of snow in Chicago before the day is done, and at the rate it's going, they may get more than that. Second down and 7 from out around the 43, a 10-10 ball game in the second quarter with 10:02 to play in the first half. And again, it's Kevin Long. They stay with Long. And he keeps on turning, keeps his legs moving, and he gets tucked right in behind a couple of his big offensive linemen, Tim Norman and Nick Iyer, 273 and 275. And Tom Sullivan, a mere 190, had a heck of a time fighting his way through the crowd to get a piece of it.
He's the only man that could squeeze through that mass of human flesh to make the tackle.
Tom Sullivan, one of his great days, I think, in his college football career was the same day that Irv Eatman had one of his great games against Ohio State at Columbus. Both of them. It was the kind of days that you dream about. And both were playing defense at the time.
Was it snowing?
No. It was raining, though. 9:15 to go. And Chicago staying on the ground on third down and short, 3rd and a yard, and Kevin Long gets the first down as he bangs it over the left side and crosses midfield.
All they're doing, Keith, is just giving the ball to their big man, their fullback, letting him bull his way behind that offensive line down the field. Not wanting to take too many chances of sprinting to the outside on the sweeps, on the pitch outs, where you can have a lot of mistakes with bad ball handling.
Kevin now with 14 carries in the ball game. That's a lot. He has 52 yards. Dave Burnson, our statistician. Handoff goes to Long again. And he's just stepping what it really amounts to a wedge, an offensive wedge. And they're just wiggling their way on down the field. And he's just inside the 45 to about the 44.
The Chicago offensive line is a solid line, and what they do predominantly is straight block. There's not a lot of guards pulling, a lot of counter running, a lot of traps. They just go straight off the line of scrimmage, try and drive their man back as far as they can, and that way you also have less confusion as which man to block.
That left tackle, Rob Taylor, as big as a garage. He's 281 pounds. Come on, given to Trumaine Johnson as he went in motion coming from his wide receiver position. They faked to the running back and gave it to Johnson, and Johnson turned it in there for some gain, trying to make a cut on the snowy condition. Wasn't able to do it.
on a play like that, when you can get the defense going the wrong way and they can't cut, you hope to get that big advantage and turn it upfield. Well, in this case, it was Tremaine Johnson who had the disadvantage as he tried to make a cut, slips, falls down, and gives the defense just enough time to come over and make the play. Number 21, David DeMars from Northwest.
That's great size for a wide receiver. 6'3", 192 with the kind of speed he's got, 4.38 speed. Phew.
When he lines up against a small defensive back, there's some knees shaking.
3rd down and 2. It's long, lost his footing as he started right and then tried to come back inside, slanting it just a little bit. You saw his left foot slip, couldn't get a grip, and Andy Poremba was there and knocks him down. It is 4th down and 3.
So now it's Chicago who experiences a little bit of tough going as they're going into the wind, and their running game just couldn't get the ball downfield enough.
Well, I guess the football folks in Chicago are used to some of this kind of stuff because they have it in November and December. I tell you this, my hat's off to them. They're a hardy group, and there must be 25,000 of them out here watching. 20 at least. I can't even guess because of the size. Here's the punt. Frank Garcia handles this one, gets it up into the wind, and it's going to bounce around. Finally takes a Denver roll, and it is touchdown back around the 10-yard line. About a 26-yard punt by Frank Garcia.
Stay looking at me. Stay looking at me.
Well, they're still working. I guess you got to keep moving to survive, huh? It's a 10-10 ball game with 6 minutes and 12 seconds to play in the first half. Denver has the football back on their 16. Well, let's see now if Ken Johnson will decide to go to the air. Red Miller and the coaching staff has Whitey Dovell on the sideline. Whitey's beard's coming in handy today. It kind of protects him. With Bo Matthews, number 41, in the backfield now for the Denver Gold. Gold, having played with some of the worst luck you can imagine, they give the ball to Bo Matthews. And Bo, who played 8 years in the National Football League, comes out of Colorado. And he's a big guy, too, 6'2", 225. Brought down by Virgil Livers, but he gets a big gain out of it.
He certainly does. Bo Matthews out of Colorado. I've seen him play many years, played in San Diego. Big back. Never quite lived up to all of his potential when he played in the NFL. But he still got the talent, and hopefully here in Denver, he'll realize it.
Well, he's 31. He's got some time left. Gained 8 yards on the carry. 2nd down and 2. Ball out around the 24. Ken Johnson hands it off to Harry Sidney, and Sidney cannot get the first down. Up on top, Jim Fonhorst. And just no place to go. Down inside, it was Kip Lathrop who had closed him off as well.
With all that experience in that Chicago defense between Fonhorst and Lorge and Ehrman and Smith, they can have a lot of fun out there. They can do things on their own.
Yeah, but that passing yardage doesn't mean a bloody thing because Chicago had the whole first quarter to throw the ball. And Denver has just simply not had to throw it because they got their touchdown on a 39-yard run. 4:44 to go in the first half of play in a 10-10 ball game. And right here on 3rd down and 2, Johnson's going to put it up. He has nobody short. The ball is knocked loose, and Denver covers it. He had no receiver in the short zone. Nobody. He only needed 3 yards.
That was Junior Ayu that came in and made the tackle. He just came in, slipped around behind Johnson there, getting away from that offensive line blocking. Just too much time, or not enough time in this case. Receivers couldn't get open.
Such a deep drop like that. Do you think he wanted to go long?
Well, I think he wanted to just find someone open.
Find somebody, yeah, but there was I didn't see anybody available to him in the short zone. Steve Gortz now with 45 yards on his first punt with a bounce, 21 yards on the second. He's got to kick the ball out of the end zone, so that means he's got to handle it. That's the first thing. And he gets it out of there. He gets a pretty good spin on it. Comes upfield, the ball ricochets loose, and Denver's got it. Denver gets the football up around the 40-yard line. So once the ball came upfield, it's very difficult to handle. Lenny Willis coming up to accept it. And here you've got penalty flag and a call going against the Denver Gold.
So when finally Denver gets a break, something going their way, which they haven't had in their first 2 ball games, a penalty takes it away from them.
Illegal man downfield.
Bringing the ball back, ladies and gentlemen.
He was in a hurry to get his legs moving so he could get warm.
So they back him up. Bill Parkinson walking off the penalty. Once again, Steve Cortins is going to have to worry.
Illegal man, downfield, number 53. 4th down.
He's going to have to worry about handling the ball.
And now
Also means that the Chicago man, Lenny Willis, is going to have to handle the ball.
Damn it. That's correct. And he's got to concentrate. But now he's got less room to punt the ball from. The Chicago Blitz are all up on the line of scrimmage. They're going to rush all 10 people. That means there's going to be no protection when this ball comes down.
They're going for it. He's got good protection, gets his kick away. Willis backs up and drops it. But at least he was able to pick it up this time. Takes a wallop. Number 51, Phil Kensick from Northern Arizona, leveled Lenny Willis. But at least Willis was able to control the ball after a 38-yard punt. A 10-10 ball game with 3 minutes and 41 seconds to play in the first half. As Dr. Ted Dietrich, the principal majority stockholder, principal owner of the Chicago franchise, he's a world-known cardiovascular surgeon. Got to be someplace else you could be today, Ted. Standing on the sidelines. They stay inside with it as Chicago goes to the attack on the Denver side of the field from the at the goal 44, and the pickup is about 2 yards with Tim Spencer carrying. Greg Landry, 14 years in the National Football League, his first year with George Allen. And of those 14 years, Greg had never had a chance to play in the system of George Allen. He sort of wanted to, he has his master's degree in physical education, sports management. I suspect Greg might wind up somewhere in the sports industry when his playing days are done. 2nd down and about 8. He's a bootlegging out. Looking downfield and gets it off, and it is incomplete. And this time, number 21, David Dumars, comes across to make a very good defensive play against Lenny Willis.
That was excellent execution of the rollout, the play action, and that just froze the entire defense. First, you got them going to the left, then he rolls out to his right, and they're all scattered. Right now, they're panicked. They don't know who's where, and they're looking for somebody to cover. And the good thing about that was they were in a zone defense, so at least when they dropped back to their zones, they were covering some part of the field, and they were able to stop that play.
Landry now 5 out of 8 for 78 yards and a touchdown. 3rd down and 7. Straight drop this time and has good protection, gets it off, and it is incomplete. Coming across with a chance at it was Wayman Buggs, number 88.
Number
Kevin
20,
Long was also out there.
Number 20, defensive corner Will Lewis, had come up on the play and just took away one of the receivers. So forced Landry to put the ball up over his head out of bounds.
Before we leave the subject of Greg Landry, he and his wife Janine are both in the Massachusetts
Offense, penalties used, 4th down.
Hall of Fame. So the penalty flag defined. I didn't see the penalty flag, but it's waved off anyway because Denver wants the ball. That puts Chicago into punt formation. Janine was an All-American gymnast at UMass. Of course, Greg for his football. Garcia now fumbled the first snap to him. The second snap he handled all right, kicked it 26 yards. And the deep man to receive it, David Martin out of Villanova for Denver, number 34. Handling the ball, that's the first thing. 2:50 to go, 10-10 ball game. For the 2nd quarter of play. Garcia gets it out of there. That's a pretty good kick, considering the weather conditions. The ball bouncing around, and Chicago kills it inside the 5, down at the 2. A 37-yard Don Quayle that just laid down when he got into the snow. So the Blitz able to put Denver right where they want them. 1st down on the Denver 2.
Hal Michaels with this update from East Rutherford, New Jersey. John Reeves has thrown another touchdown pass, his second of the day. This one 25 yards to Eric Trevelyan. The Generals, again, a desultory performance thus far before a big crowd. It's 18-0 Tampa Bay. Back to Chicago.
18-0 Tampa Bay, New Jersey Generals. Boy, I'll tell you, it got to be the weakest football team in the league right now. Were miserable against Philadelphia last week and are no better this week against Tampa Bay. Well, Terry Miller is now in the backfield of the Denver Gold. And the ball is right around the 3-yard line. And Terry Miller, number 43, the banker from Oklahoma State. I'm slanting over the left side, and you know, he got some yardage out of that. He was relatively rotund when I saw him at the New Jersey training camp, but he has peeled off some weight now, got himself down under 200 pounds, and you know, he hasn't, though he played in the National Football League 4 years and primarily with Buffalo, he hasn't been beat up that much. He's still got good wheels. He can haul it.
Really hasn't been beat up that much, and last week, of course, he got a concussion. That's why he didn't start this ball game, and Harry Sidney is now back in the ball game. But he didn't get beat up that much when he played in Buffalo. He had a couple of good years early on and did a real fine job. As Red Miller said, he's got that little wiggle.
Yep, he's quick. 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go, first half timeout.
Hi, I'm Lee Iacocca. My parents, and maybe yours, were among the millions who passed through Ellis Island on their way to a better life. Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty offered the promise of freedom. They are symbols of what this country stands for. But now they need our help. The USFL is making a donation for every ticket they sell to help restore this beloved national monument. It's a generous start, but we need your help too. Won't you contribute to this noble cause? Thank you.
The preceding announcement furnished courtesy of the United States Football League. It is 2nd down and 2 yards to go. The ball is out around the 12. They've got to go out to about the 14 to get a first down, just beyond, maybe just short of the 14. Kyle Whittingham, linebacker, has gone off the field, shaken up, limping some for the Denver Gold. And now on 2nd down and 2, let's see what Ken Johnson tries to do. I use that word advisedly, tries under the weather condition. Turns around, gives that football away to Sidney. Sidney wants to throw it downfield. He throws a knuckleball up in the air that's going to be picked off. Caught by Luther Bradley. Oh, my goodness. Well, they went to the trick play, and it just blew up in their face.
Harry Sidney can run, but he can't pass.
Well, in these conditions, he just threw that thing up in the air and it floated around. They were minus 13 off their passing effort going into that particular play and put it up in the air, and making the reception was Luther Bradley. Looks like we've got another Denver man shaken up on the play. The football has been marked down. If I can get some kind of an angle and see where the spot, it's outside the 35, looks like about the 37-yard line.
That's number 74, Steve Rogers, that's down.
Steve Rogers, an offensive tackle out of Brigham Young. And another man from Brigham Young, Kyle Whittingham, went off the field a while ago, a linebacker, but Rogers gets up and runs off the field. So here is Chicago now with 1 minute and 48 seconds. Now, in the USFL, as you take another look at it here, you see Bradley making the interception. It wasn't really an interception as much as it would just make the fair catch.
That's pretty much what it was. That's the kind of play I really don't think you need in a ball game like that. Too many things to go wrong, and that's a prime example of it going wrong. As Denver now is minus 13 yards passing.
And from the 37, Landry goes to the sidelines, and the pass is caught. Ball came loose after Tim Spencer was out of bounds. So the pass is complete on the sidelines. And he got about 5 yards on the play. Tim Spencer, who played for Earl Bruce over at Ohio State, and we've got a penalty flag, I believe. Yes, we do. And it's going to go against Chicago as they talk to the Denver captains. And apparently, the Blitz caught with an infraction, and it might well be holding. Parkinson and a hardy group wearing the striped shirts out there today. George Allen, 12 years in the National Football League with that record.
George Allen's offense thus far demonstrating a great deal more confidence in their passing game than Denver. Has used it very, very well here in the ball game so far.
Ball comes loose on the snap. And Chicago keeps it. And with 1:31 to play, it'll be second down, and they back them up 10 yards and penalties. A loss on that play of about 14, so it's going to be second down at about 24. You watch here now on the exchange, the ball just ricocheted loose.
The offensive line came up set, and Landry came up to take it on the quick count to get his offense going and just get a jump on that defense. And when he put his hands under there, I think he just pulled them back too quickly.
We've got a timeout called as Landry goes to the sidelines to speak with the Chicago coaching people. Figure out what might work in this spring snowstorm. It's not exactly blizzard proportion, but it is a tad discomforting.
Very discomforting.
Looking at 26 seconds to play in the first half.
Looking out there and seeing Denver in the black and gold reminds me of a few cold games I've been in the past.
Indeed. See, Red finally covered up his head. He was walking around a while ago with about a pound of snow on it. In the running game, Denver's done pretty well. They've got 98 yards. Chicago with 40 yards on the ground. And the National Football League 4-year record for Red Miller with the Denver Broncos. Red was one of the very, very popular people in his hometown, and it's a prime reason for the success of the goal and selling some 35,000 season tickets. They were a little unhappy when he was released by the Denver. Here's Kevin Long breaking it loose and getting a lot of decent yardage out of it. He picked up about 10 on it before David Dumars brings him down, but he is obviously going to be well short of his first down.
Well, if he had picked up his head a little bit and opened his eyes, he wouldn't have run into his own right guard, Tim Norman, number 68. He banged right into the back of him, then bounced off him and ran for another 5 or 6 yards.
Ball is at the 40. Works third down. About 15. Landry back to throw, and he's got Johnson, but tries to run it out of there as he looked at Johnson, and I really honestly think that Greg was unable to get a grip on the ball sufficient to throw, because he had Johnson available to him and looked at him, and it just simply couldn't get it.
Yeah, Johnson just ran down the field and hooked right in front of the corner, but then he's looking right at him. And I think the linebackers had gotten deep enough where it would have presented the problem. Instead of taking a chance and throwing an interception, he decides to just hang on to it and run the ball.
Well, that's the wisdom that is the byproduct of experience. And throwing into the wind, you just have to knock down a wall to throw it more than 15 yards. You've got 32 seconds now.
Now we take a look at Tremaine Johnson as, again, the corner is just giving him a lot of room. He slides a little bit, hooks in front of him, ready to come back to the ball. But in that situation, he is still open.
And so it's fourth down and 9 yards to go for Chicago. The ball is where? 35. I think.
Yeah, it's tough to tell.
36. Well, they've knocked down the sideline markers. They had them up to the 30, and they've now knocked those down on both sides of the field, and they're totally askew, so you have to sort of count. Figure out exactly where it is. It's just short of the 35. David Martin is deep, and Frank Garcia to punt. A fumble, 26 yards, and 37 yards the last time. Very good kick the last time into the wind. With 32 seconds to play in the first half. Garcia hounds it well, gets it out of there. Oh, the ball rolls out of My goodness, Martin coming across to field it. And he turned back looking south, and his feet went north, and the rest of his body wound up in a heap in the snow. 20-yard punt.
In these kind of conditions, you have to really have your concentration working for you full time and try not to do too many things at one time. When that ball is bouncing around, if you can make a play for it, you go for it. If you can't, you get away from it. And you don't have a lot of time to make up your mind as you're breezing along on the slippery surface.
Well, we know when we got out here about 10 o'clock this morning, there was a little crust of ice and spots around the field, and probably still some of that ice is there and now covered with snow. It's difficult just to walk in some places. All right, they got them spread out all over the place. They've got 3 wide receivers to the bottom of the picture, and up for grabs. And intercepted. Maurice Tyler comes down with it. The pass intended for Sammy Green. And Chicago's got 14 seconds to work with.
Here, they're just taking a big chance, what we call the big bend play. They send everybody downfield, most of the guys deep, a couple people underneath, just in case you want to throw it short. You hope in a situation like that, the receiver can come down with the ball or at least draw a pass interference penalty. In this case, they didn't get either.
And Maurice Tyler out of Morgan State comes up with an interception for the Chicago Blitz. And Greg Landry comes back onto the field now, trying to put something together in the remaining 14 seconds in a 10-10 ball game. Denver 0-2, Chicago 1-1. Denver playing in dreadful luck so far. And Landry puts it up, and it is incomplete. Tremaine Johnson turning to the sidelines in between the defenders. His feet went out from under him, and down he went in the heap.
Number 58, John Bearfield, the outside linebacker, had a chance to really go up and get this ball. He was just a little bit too far away from him, and had he had better footing, he could have took a couple of steps and made a play on that pass. But because of the snow, he just couldn't get there. As you see, Greg Landry has completed 50% of his passes for 1 touchdown, and that's having a pretty good day under these conditions.
Oh, my goodness. He throws it out to Tim Spencer, and poor Tim turning to look back for the ball. There's no chance. As he turned, his feet went straight up in the air. And you've got 3 seconds, one more play to go in the first half. I'm sure at halftime they'll get the snowplow out there and try to scrape it off as best they can, but it is the snow just coming down in waves.
That last play will provide a few chuckles on film day next week.
Yeah. This is also the kind of conditions, though, and the kind of game where you're really sore. Johnson going down the left side. Landry's going the other way with it. Lenny Willis, and it is intercepted. Picked off by David Dumars. And down he goes, the first for him this year, and time has run out. And so the first half is over, and it was unseemly at times because of the weather conditions. And they're not even off the field into the warmth of the clubhouse until Red Miller and his staff start talking about what they're going to do to start the second half. And the snowplows are out. We'll be ready for halftime after this message and a word from our local station. A halftime score, Denver 10, Chicago 10. At snow-wrapped Soldier Field in Chicago. The first day of spring, not here. Looking at the first half, though, it's quite surprising. They played as well as you could possibly play under the circumstance. I thought in the last 5 minutes of the first half, it got particularly slick, and I think the reason for that is you're beginning to get the formation of some ice spots on the field. So really what the biggest advantage a team can have on a day like this is to have the wind at their back. And the team that has the wind at its back in the third quarter, I think probably can be expected to go out and take the lead. Though Denver was not able to really exercise use of the wind in the second quarter because their touchdown actually came on a 39-yard run from Harry Sidney. So the Denver goal continuing to play with a little bit of bad luck. But they are 10-10 with Chicago right now. Well, now let's talk some about this first half. With a gentleman who has played in these kind of conditions before, Lynn Swan. What do? You just hope and pray you get a break, I guess.
Well, what you do is you concentrate. You hope you don't turn the ball over too often. you try and avoid as many of the mistakes as possible. When you've got to handle the ball, as Harry Sidney said, you put 2 hands on it. Now, when you look at the first half stats, we see that Denver only had 2 first downs. Now, they're playing very conservative football, and had it not been for the great runs by Harry Sidney, the touchdown and 40 yards down the middle of the field, they wouldn't have been in position to score the field goal or would not have gotten that touchdown, as opposed to Chicago with 8 first downs. And then you look at the passing, minus 13 yards. All right, the halfback pass for an interception didn't help, and even when they've had the win behind them, they've still been conservative, not put the ball in the air where Chicago has, and that's the result. Denver is a strong team, a strong defensive team, and I think it has to be a moral victory at this point that it's a 10-10 ball game.
And we were not kidding a while ago, folks. The airport is closed, so we have no idea when the Denver Gold will be able to go home, nor do we have any idea when we'll be able to go home. So we're at a 10-10 tie. The snow is still tumbling down out of the sky on this first day of spring, and they're going to clean the field off, and we're going to try to play some football after this commercial message and a word from our local station. Well, the 2 teams have come out now. They're scraping the snow off the artificial turf here at Soldier Field, and there's a pretty good snowfall that they're scraping off. Right now, let's go to Tim Brandt with Coach George Allen.
Keith, George Allen is a coach who has always preached that this is blitz weather, and you've always tried to turn adverse situations into a positive mental attitude, and yet being a more experienced ball club, George, you can't play as many games. You'd think it would hurt your club more than theirs.
Well, I love this weather. This is the type of weather where the defense can win the ball game. Our defense can win it today, and I told them that at halftime.
George, most of the defenses in this league have stayed very conservative. You, with the more experience now, you play some games, you mix things up, you disguise it, though, but they can't seem to move as well out there today.
Well, of course, when you got defensive linemen that are pretty good pass rushers, this type of field hurts you. We're going to get run over by the snowplow here.
Okay, good luck the second half,
okay.
Coach. The man who cut me, Keith Jackson, and he loves this weather.
Yeah, sure he does. Sure he does. For Boston now with 3 field goals. Tim Mazzetti hitting from 21 yards to pull the Boston Breakers within 1 point of the Washington Federals. Washington is one of the teams in the USFL without victory so far. The other being the New Jersey Generals, and New Jersey was getting hammered 18-3 when last we heard by Tampa Bay. Los Angeles losing last night its first game in a 21-14 loss to Arizona. And the way things are going, it may turn out, Lynn Swan, that Arizona is one of the real surprises of this first season of the USFL, because they were very late getting a coach, they were very late getting organized, they were very late doing anything for that matter. And it looked like when they first opened up that they were going to get run out of town, because here comes George Allen in Chicago and all this kind of stuff. They had just been beaten roundly by Oakland, and suddenly they turned the tables on Chicago and beat them 30-29, and then beat Los Angeles last night 21-14.
I think they were even shut out against Oakland, but
yeah,
that's a young football team down in Arizona that's got a lot of spirit. When they came in against Chicago, I'm sure they felt that, hey, this is maybe the best team in the USFL this first year, and we have to go out and take it to them. And they've got a lot of spirit, and it's a developing young ball club, and they're going to continue to get better as they go along. And we're going to see that, I think, happen to most of the teams in the league as they continue to progress through this inaugural season.
One of the undefeated teams in the Eastern Division, the Philadelphia Stars, have to go down to Birmingham and play the Stallions tomorrow night. So they're sticking their head into a pretty tough bus stop down there, because Birmingham has shown clearly that they can beat you. So Philadelphia will try to stay undefeated as they go to Birmingham, and Tampa Bay leading New Jersey 18-3. In the second quarter of play. Tampa Bay is scheduled in Philadelphia next week. Now, here is Tim Brandt to talk to Coach Red Miller.
Red, I know you were upset with some of the mental errors here in the first half, and weather has definitely been a factor.
This is spring football.
What adjustments did you make at half, and what can you do under these weather conditions?
Well, hey, we've been in these games before, and we're going to do what we can to win. We're going to try to keep the ball on the ground and do a good job at it.
And you're going to try to stay very conservative defensively and just disguise things? You're going to try to do some more blitzing?
Well, hey, no, we aren't going to take a lot of chances on blitzing, because we leave a corner exposed on a one-on-one. We don't want to do that.
Okay, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Keith, I heard you mention it wasn't blizzard conditions down here, but I guarantee you it's getting close.
Well, I can understand that. Aren't you glad you changed shoes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's too bad, really, because it was the home opener for Chicago. They were expecting, in reasonably good weather, they were almost sure they were going to have between 40 and 50,000. And a good sunny day, they might have gone past 50,000 because they had a fairly decent pre-game promotional campaign going, and everything seemed as if it was going to be on the forecast as of Friday was for clearing weather conditions. But then this apparently is part of that same storm that dumped fresh snow on the Denver area. And it's doing a fair to middling job here in Chicago.
It's done a very good job here in Chicago. Before the game started, a number of the Denver Gold players came out singing Christmas songs.
We're still trying to get the snow off the field. They cleaned the middle and going toward the sidelines, and they had pretty good pile of it on the sidelines, and they've got to get it out of there because there's no way you can play football when you got to go from run into a foot deep.
One of the big problems when the field gets covered, the ball players can't see the yard markers, and they start to line up offsides.
Neither can the announcer.
That's right. I recall a game that when I was in Pittsburgh that we played, and we looked at the film after the game, and half of our line, offensive line, was offsides because they lined up almost perpendicular to that point. You can't really judge where you are when that field is covered with so much snow, so that's why they have to try and get the field cleared off, keep the sidelines markers at least uncovered so the officials can help the teams line up correctly.
I don't care what George says. This is not anybody's kind of weather, except for the kind that gets you inside the house sitting in front of the fire.
It becomes your weather. It becomes your weather after the game when you're the winning football team.
Yeah, that's right. Or when you're trying to sell somebody or trying to do something under very inclement conditions. I think the snow is heavier right now than it has been all day, and you can scarcely see the rim of the stadium across from us, and you can see nothing of Lake Michigan now.
Well, I tell you, this winter here in Chicago has been a mild one. They haven't received a great deal of snow, and there's a couple of guys in hardware stores that have some snow blowers stockpiled that I'm sure they're hoping they can sell now.
Well, we've got one more scraping job to do over here on the sidelines, and we ought to be able to get on with the football game. They've still got some chunks of snow down here in this corner they've got to move off. But right now, let's check in with our friend on the sidelines, Mr. Tim Brandt.
Keith, I'm here with Will Lewis, who went to Millersville State in Pennsylvania, played 2 years in the AFC. I think even finished second in kickoff returns with the Seahawks. And you've had a chance now at cornerback to play Tremaine Johnson and Bugs and the rest of them, and you are at a disadvantage because you have to back up and they don't.
Well, I think things are a little bit even now because of the footing. I think Tremaine's a super receiver. You know, he's got a lot of speed, he's got great moves, and he runs an excellent pattern. But I think the weather may, affect him a little bit, and I think it's going to help us a little bit.
Now, if I was playing offense against you, I'd be trying to run you into a few picks and keep those feet out from under you. And have you had that this afternoon?
No, they haven't really picked us that much. As a matter of fact, with the wind blowing like this, they aren't really throwing that much. No, it's pretty difficult for them to get the ball in the air. So I think they're trying to just establish some sort of ground game, a little bit of ball control, and just keep the ball out of the air.
Okay, Will, thank you very much.
You bet.
Guys?
All right, Tim. Some of the numbers in the first half. Harry Sidney with a big ground gainer with 6 carries and 69 yards. The biggest player for him, of course, was the 39-yard touchdown run. And for Chicago, Kevin Long, 17 carries, which is that's a lot for 70 yards. But one of the stories in the first half, the fact that Kevin Long, who I'm sure the man that George Allen wants to have the ball because he has more trust in him to not turn it over, but Tim Spencer carried 3 times for 1 yard. Timmy has not been able to do much. And typical, again, George doesn't want to put the pressure on the younger player, so he's just simply giving the ball to the older man.
Plus the fact Tim Spencer, most of the plays designed for him to run the ball are going off to the outside. And there are a lot of pitches and a lot of tosses. And again, when you have this kind of weather and you've got to pitch the ball back, you've got problems.
I think it's one of the noblest achievement of the first half was that 39-yard field goal that Brian Spielman kicked into the wind.
It was, and it was a low kick. Had that kick been a little higher, I don't think it would have made it.
No way.
And if he hadn't slipped, again, if he had not slipped, I think he probably would have got it up a little bit higher.
All things considered, it worked out for him, and we're all even. 10 for Chicago, 10 for Denver. The Gold will kick it off. And the Denver goal now will have the ball going from left to right. So that means they have the wind in the third quarter. Chicago will have the wind in the fourth quarter. So tuck that away. That's very likely going to have some meaning. Now, I'll tell you one thing. Denver better get some points on the scoreboard, and they better get more than 7 in the third quarter.
They're going to have to take advantage of this wind being at their back in the third quarter.
Lenny Willis. Let it go, and he will. There'll be no return. It'll be first down for Chicago out of the 20. So Chicago now will open up, I presume, with the same people. Spencer and Long set behind Greg Landrew with Johnson, Buggs, and Ricker. Ricker has not seen the ball today. Taylor Stevenson, Pursuit, Norman, and I are the big guys up front. And it's first down, Chicago from the 20. Chicago 1-1 on the year, and Denver trying to win its first. And Denver sets up with a 5-man front. Into the line goes Tim Spencer, his 4th carry of the ball game. He gets a couple of yards, and Calvin Turner out of West Virginia, number 99, makes the tackle. Defensive unit, you can see Turner plays the defensive end position along with Larry White. Lavelle Short, who had one big play for Denver in that first half, sacking the quarterback. Bearfield, Choate, Whittingham, and Gherkin. Choate had 10 tackles in that first half. Lewis, Dumars, Haar, and Martin, the secondary. It is second down. They need about 8. Ball is given off again to Spencer, and Spencer's up across the 25 and tumbles into the snowbank at the 26. And riding him out of there, Greg Gherkin and Will Lewis.
Greg Gherkin on the tackle, moving the ball to about the...
They've got that defensive line and linebackers up on the ball, up on the line of scrimmage, trying to take control, realizing the ball isn't going to go in the air, very much. And they want to get in, stop that running game cold, keep from getting to the outside and breaking the big run.
Well, it's third down and a short 4 now for Chicago. And they've got it. Big game. Cam Spencer, who saw the ball only 3 times in the first half for 1 yard, comes out here getting it for 3 successive plays to start the second half, and David Martin saved the touchdown for Denver.
Well, I think that defensive line, even though they were expecting the run, were not very successful. As you see them, they just get blown away there. Big hole opens up for him as he just gets downfield, drags number 34 for a couple of yards there. Oh, I'm getting colder just watching him.
Oh boy, well, it's snowing up here in the booth. First time I've done a ball game with the snow coming in, it's just blowing, so it's just coming from everywhere. Out to Trumaine Johnson. And Johnson losing his footing and goes tumbling down. Let's see, where is he in relation to the first down markers?
In the first game that the Chicago team played in, Trumaine took a pass just like this and went downfield, got into the end zone where he fumbled the ball, but it was recovered by a teammate. Here, on this play, you need the footing. You need the footing because you're going to make a lot of quick moves to get away. You need that fast start, and he just wasn't able to do it there.
Third down, 3 catches for 25 yards. And it is second down and 6. He picked up 4 there. Here's Spencer again. And Spencer over the left side, running behind Rob Taylor and Mark Stevenson. Larry White out of Jackson State making the tackle. They've got him just short of the first down. So it'll be third down and short. The wind chill factor, 6 degrees. I mean, it's not minus. 32 Fahrenheit. Snow depth, at least 3 inches, I'd say. Airport closed.
Watch the play action!
What else bad can I tell you? It's tied at 10-10. Swanee's feet are frostbitten. Denver almost jumped. Give that ball to Long, and they stack him up. It'll be close. They're going to mark him, I believe, down at the 45. And if they do, that'll be a first down. Looks like a first down to me.
I think it is a first down. His forward progress did take him up to about the 45, so it would be a first down by a yard.
Chicago getting the opening kickoff to start the second half, working into the wind. Denver has not had an opportunity with the ball. And Chicago, as far as possession, first downs, and total yardage, dominant in the ball game, but they're even on the scoreboard where it counts. That's Kevin Long. A little skipped to the right, cleared him of one tackle, and he was able to move on down. Number 75, Rob Taylor, really threw a strong block to get him out of there. John Bearfield made the tackle. Actually, one of the moments for the Denver Gold, they had a chance, had the ball on a punt, a fumbled punt, remember, and had an ineligible man downfield and got penalized for it. Had to go back and redo it, and Chicago was able to handle the ball. Otherwise, we might have a little different story. Landry turns and hands the ball off. And Kevin Long now just slowly creeping it downfield. With 10 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the third quarter. I'm looking forward to spring football.
This is spring football.
If and when we ever get it. It's really not a bitter cold. It's 32 degrees. It's cold enough, isn't it? A 10-10 tie. And Chicago on third down and 3. Landry back to pass, almost falls down, throws incomplete, losing his footing as he let the ball go. And did we get a flag? Landry was knocked down. We're going to get a roughing the passer call against Denver. Oh, my goodness. Laval Short came in. That's worth another look. Now, there's no way in the world you can stop. Let's see what he does when he makes contact. Could he have avoided the quarterback?
Well, you see Landry, he's just trying to drop back, and he's slipping. All right, slipping on the bad surface. Now, he throws the ball here, gets it away, and right there, they're up.
Denver.
It's, you know...
Personal foul. Number 91 on the defense, roughing the pass.
Wasn't Short.
First down.
As Bill Parkinson defines it, it was 91.
Larry White.
Larry White. If he had pulled his arms away, I think incidental contact would not have applied. But 15-yard penalty, and downfield they go.
He also jumped up in the air.
Yeah, jumped on him, yeah. Here's the pass to the sidelines, and Trumaine Johnson cannot get his hands on it. Looped it out there, and you just, I know Greg Landry's got a strong arm, and I know he's a well-preserved 14-year veteran in football and all those things, but there's no way you can throw that ball sideways across the field with the way that wind is blowing. Greg is now 6 out of 14 for 81 yards, been picked off one time, and he is passed for a touchdown.
All those passes have also gone in the direction of Trumaine Johnson. William Buggs has not seen any action so far.
Right. Ricker, the tight end, who led the club in scoring, has not seen the ball yet today either. That's Tim Spencer carrying over the left side behind Stevenson and Taylor. And Put Choate again puts his helmet in the crowd and gets credit for the tackle. And there's a fairly decent gain out of that.
When I say William Buggs hasn't seen much action, he's color passed here in the ballgame thus far, but certainly hasn't been utilized as much as Trumaine Johnson. No. And in the first game, Trumaine Johnson had turned in a remarkable performance, but the second game, it was William Buggs who was being utilized because Trumaine was double covered.
Third down and 4. Ball is down about, looks like the 18. They're going to stay on the ground, and a good play by Larry White, looping in from his defensive end position, catches Tim Spencer, trips him up short of the first down. So it'll bring up 4th down. So Larry comes up with a big defensive play, atoning somewhat for the flag he drew on roughing the quarterback. That gave Chicago a first down.
Weather like this, when you make a diving stab at a running back's ankles just to try and trip him up, can be very successful. Dry field, of course, the running back just steps away from that without even thinking about it.
All right, John Rivetto now has kicked a 27-yard field goal. Did that back in the first quarter, but he did it with the wind. Now, we saw Spielman hit one from 39 yards. Rivetto is going to try one from 31 yards into the wind. Snap is good. The hold is good. The kick is smothered. Never got it past the line of scrimmage. It just went right down into the stack. And so Rivetto, who with the Bears heard a lot of boos, and John's going to go off and say, wait a minute, hold it. What have I done to get in this fix? We remain tied at 10-10. Oh, another look at the, I don't even call that a blocked field goal, Lynn.
No, he gets a ball. He's placed down on the tee, and he just doesn't get under the ball at all. Just kicks it right on top, no height, and it just goes into that melee of blockers down in front of him. As we see the cheerleaders here have put on something a little warmer to cover the bottom half.
I don't really know. Yeah, let's see. It's first down, and I'm trying to figure out where it is. Looks like about the 17 of Denver. Ken Johnson turns. Handoff is in the middle for Larry Canada. And Denver getting the ball for the first time in the third quarter now with 8 minutes and 20 seconds to play. So Chicago had the ball for a long time and came away empty in the 10-10 tie. Stan White, linebacker, whacking in there to make the tackle. Now we are told, and I'm passing along second-hand information to you folks, now we're told that the Chicago airport is not closed, that it is open. I don't see how, but they say it is open. So those of you who have been calling about it, they apparently say that it is open, and it looked for a moment like the ball might have come loose in there, but I guess not. Harry Sidney, number 24, carrying. Harry is out of Kansas, 6'1" and 218 pounds. There's a loss on the play of about a yard or so. It'll be third down, then about 8 yards to go. I don't believe this. 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Long count, obvious check off, and time expired. Time ran out on him. Ken was trying to change his play as he looked into the defense, and the blitz moving around, and as a result of the check off and everything, one of his own people inside moved, and it's an illegal procedure call.
What he saw was a lot of people up in the line of scrimmage. He saw bump and run coverage over his wide receivers and two safeties back deep. And I don't know what he had planned to check off. Check off two. Certainly, I don't think he would have thrown the ball. He hasn't shown desire to throw the ball that
number
much.
Number 65 on the offense. Third down.
So probably looking for a run that would take advantage of that defensive line play.
There's Glenn Hyde who moved. Denver's been flagged 4 times for 29 yards. Chicago 1 time for 10. That's Sammy Green in motion. The pitch out goes to Sidney, and Harry wheels it around the corner, stays on his feet, and keeps on scrambling. And he almost popped out of there. He got sort of tangled up with Fonhorst 55 and Schwartz 28 and one of his own men. And they stop him just short of the first down. So Denver will kick it.
Well, he's having a fine game, and it's fortunate for Denver, too, that Harry Sidney is playing so well with Miller having suffered the concussion. And this kind of weather, coming back after only 1 week off, it's not really good for him. Cold weather doesn't help that particular injury get better. So if they can get a good game out of him, they'll be very happy.
Schwartz just gets it off and gets a fine punt away. The wind carries it well downfield, and that's going to be considerable before it finally stops rolling. Marcus Anderson almost blocked it for Chicago, but they got it out of there. Now you've got 6 minutes and 18 seconds to play in the third quarter. Chicago going into the wind. From the Denver point of things now, the Denver defense has got to stop Chicago here to give the Denver offense a chance to do something with the wind. Because I don't see how in the world you're going to win a ball game going into the weather.
One of the things Denver hasn't had much of in this ball game is field position.
That's right.
They lost it at the opening kickoff when they fumbled it around and they didn't get a great punt off. And they haven't had it here so far in this ball game. If their defense can stop them, and their defense is capable of doing it, then they have some good field position and a chance to work.
57 yards on the punt, including the roll.
That wind blew that ball when it hit the ground.
It did.
A good 10 yards.
The ball, I think under ordinary circumstances, on even a dry rug, the ball would have been at least 10 yards farther upfield, but it just kept on rolling, and now here's a penalty being assessed against the Denver goal.
And it's a big one.
Bill Parkinson will define it.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the bench. First down.
Whoops.
I think it's against Red Miller for unsportsmanlike conduct. I think Miller felt a flag should have been thrown on the punt for roughing the kicker.
Roughing the kicker. Well, I can see his complaint. I mean, Gortz had his leg down, but watch it here. It's close.
He doesn't touch the ball, and he comes right across his leg and hits his leg and knocks him down. Nice job of acting, too.
Well, he did hit the leg.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he did. We'll see as we go into commercial here. You'll see whether or not he actually makes contact with the leg. Yes, he did. We've got 6 minutes and 18 seconds to play now. After the unsportsmanlike conduct call, the ball is up around the 33 maybe. I can see why Red Miller was complaining on that.
So can I.
He had good reason. One of those very close things. Ball's loose, and Landry dives for it and gets back to it. He tried to give it to Kevin Long, but the conditions are so slippery now that if you get going, that's it. You're not going to change quickly.
Well, frankly, what happened here, he just got his hand stuck inside of this handoff. It's still there, and he just pulls the ball away from him.
So the Blitz have a sigh of relief here on 2nd down and 10. From about the 33. And there's the handoff inside to Spencer, and Tim hanging on is brought down by Larry White. Have some inclement weather down in Atlanta. Here's Landry back to throw it on 3rd down. Gets away from one, goes over the middle. It is incomplete. Knocking it loose. Greg Gherkin, number 50, and intended for, I think it was Trumaine Johnson. So it's 4th down. Denver will get the football back, and they have a chance at decent field position.
It was good pressure by the Denver defense here. As you see, Trumaine gets jammed there at the line of scrimmage, and he's just floating around back there inside that zone as Landry is scrambling. There, the ball's just tipped away from him, and he can't make a play. Excellent play by the linebackers on that.
Garcia's in to punt now. 26, 37, 27, and a fumble the first time with David Martin deep to receive it. Kicking it into the wind, into the snow. There's a penalty flag. Now Denver gets flagged for knocking the kicker down. Oh, that'll get red jumping up and down again, won't it? Denver's flagged for roughing the kicker. John Bungart out of Cal State Fullerton runs over Garcia, and that'll get a 1st down for Chicago.
Well, Denver is just not having any luck here. First, what could have possibly been called a roughing the kicker wasn't called, and we said their defense had to hold him. Well, the defense did a good job of holding him, with the exception of the 15-yard penalty assessed to Red Miller.
Personal foul. Running into the kicker, number 56. 1st down.
Then after holding them, Chicago punts, and they get the roughing the kicker penalty called against them. So it's not a good day in that area.
They just sort of ran over Garcia. I mean, if they'd have bumped him, that's one thing. But they didn't bump him, they buried him. Oh, well, like you said, no luck. Here comes Spencer trying to get outside, and does get outside for about 3 yards, maybe 4, before Will Lewis brings him down. And here's New York now for an update.
Well, Red probably...
All right, Keith, in Boston, it is 10-9 in favor of the Washington Federals. The Breakers were driving just moments ago. John Walton went back to pass, had this drive stymied by an interception by number 36, Jeff Brown. Early 3rd quarter, still 10-9 in favor of the Federals. Back to Keith Jackson at Soldier Field.
here in Chicago. It is still 10-10 with 4:25 to go in the third quarter. Tim Spencer just carrying the ball, gets another first down. And Spencer in the first half had 1 yard, with Kevin Long picking up 70. Here in the third quarter, Long has run for 9 yards. Spencer's been the busier, getting 49. Well, we went in the clubhouse, and Kevin said, wait a minute. What's this other big guy? He's younger than I am. Give him the ball, son. Yeah, that's a broken play. As Landry turned to give it to somebody, everybody was gone, so he pulls it down and will take a loss of about 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Looked like Long somebody went the wrong way. I don't know, put the blame on Kevin, but somebody did.
Well, both backs are going there to the right, and I think what happened was Landry should have just pivoted to his right, and he would have been right there for the handoff. Instead, he went to his left and said, whoops, there's nobody here.
Of course, I'm assuming the quarterback never makes a mistake, right?
Well, we are assuming incorrectly.
3:20 to go in the third quarter. That handoff works, but pounding in there is number 60, George Ataye from Louisiana State. Ataye making the tackle. Ataye. Remember him as a Bayou Bengal. Baton Rouge. Good football player. Again, to correct some bad information that I passed on to you about the airport being closed, I am again told that it is open, for a fact. So it is with some wonder. Third down. They're 7 out of 15 doing it. Give it to Spencer, and he doesn't get it. So again, it is fourth down, and once again, Chicago's going to have to punt it. And again, Denver will have one more chance with the football with 2 minutes and 25 seconds and the wind at their back. I keep stressing that because it's going to eventually mean the difference in this ball game, I think.
I believe so, especially if it's going to come down to a field goal to break the tie or to win the ball game. If you've got the wind at your back, you've got a little bit more of an advantage for that ball to carry. And certainly if Denver has a chance to win the ball game, they've got to kick into that wind, and you can't always get those 39-yarders into the wind.
There's no pressure on Garcia, and he just got all of it. He hit it just about as well as you could hit it. And Martin makes a fair catch of it up inside the 20. Looks like he might be around the 14, 15-yard line. First down for Denver with 1:52 to go in the third quarter. Denver and Chicago all even at 10-10. Here in snowbound Chicago with 1 minute and 52 seconds to play in the third quarter. A very important 1 minute and 52 seconds to play for Denver because of the wind factor. Wind at their back. So here comes the goal. And we welcome those of you who have been watching New Jersey and Tampa Bay. Welcome to spring in Chicago. We've got about 3 inches of snow, maybe 4 on the ground by now. Ball is given off as Denver tries to get something going at its own 14-yard line. Larry Canada. And Canada can get virtual in fact, didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. It lost about 2 yards. So 10-10 tie with 1.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. And with a score 25-3, Tampa Bay leading New Jersey. We'll keep you abreast of if anything happens in the ball game to change what appears to be an ultimate result, another loss for New Jersey. 1 minute and 15. Wind blowing about 20, 25 miles an hour. Started snowing about at 11 o'clock. And it's been snowing in earnest. Ken Johnson tries to run away from the pressure, and his feet go out from under him, and he had Sammy Green downfield, wide open, home free, touchdown in a 10-10 ball game. And there's so much snow and ice on the field that he just simply couldn't run away from the pressure and get it away.
He just couldn't move to find this receiver downfield. And Sammy, he's just open, waving his hands, throw it anywhere. Just put it anywhere, I'll catch it and run home.
See Johnson's problem now. Watch him. He spots him, I think, here, and then starts to run away from the pressure, and then boom, down he goes.
You can't make the quick moves.
Third down and 22. And Denver's back inside its 5, around its 4. The Chicago putting the heat on. The pass is in the air, and it is intercepted by number 24, Virgil Livers. And it's as good as a punt if you want to consider it in that respect, probably, because it carries out near midfield, and I'm sort of guessing as to where the yard marker is. But I thought for a minute that the whole thing might work out, but not quite so for Lionel Fee.
Well, Lionel shows some pretty good speed as he gets back there, but Livers just goes back, and when he makes the interception, he doesn't know whether he's on the field or whether he's out of bounds as he jumps up and catches it.
Al Michaels with a report. For those of you watching the Denver-Chicago game, here was the Tampa Bay Bandits' last touchdown. Greg Boone from 1 yard out, his second of the day, 25-3 Tampa Bay. Late in the third quarter at East Rutherford. We'll keep you abreast of the happenings from Giant Stadium. Right now back to Chicago, Keith Jackson.
So it's 25-3, Tampa Bay leading New Jersey. Here in Chicago, we're still at 10-10, and the prospects for the Blitz to win their home opener, I think, have gotten a little better, because they've been able to keep Denver away from any real progress downfield with the wind at their back. Now the goal is going to have to turn around and I think hope for some kind of a break.
Now they're going to hope for a break. What they like to get right now is a couple more heaters on the sideline. Not being really prepared for this kind of weather. There are only a couple of small blows there to keep the feet warm. The ball players are huddling on the side as Landry brings his ball club up to the line of scrimmage.
First down. Let's call it, I'm guessing, but it's around the 42. And Tim Spencer carries, and the man that picked off the last pass, Virgil Livers, he's with Tim Brandt right now.
And Keith, that's not an easy chore in this weather. Tell me about the interception.
Oh, man. Tell you what, the only thing I want to do is hold on to it. In this kind of weather, everything is so unpredictable. And they've got the wind to the back, so it's very easy could have been over my head, but I was fortunate enough to get back there and make the interception.
It's not so much of a read, though, as it is actually looking for the mistakes.
And standing up.
Okay, Virgil Livers, Keith.
All right, so we've come to the end of the third quarter with a score, 10-10, and we'll be back for the fourth quarter of play after this message and a word from our local stations. We're going to try to play 15 minutes of football in a roaring snowstorm at Chicago's Soldiers Field. I'm Keith Jackson along with Lynn Swan. Swanee was involved in that now infamous 1976 college all-star game when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got rained out after three quarters. I remember that because I was involved with the Olympics up in Montreal, and Frank Gifford came down with some others to do the game. After this, you thought he was going to drown before he got out of here. Here's Chicago from the 41 of Denver. Landry gives to Tim Spencer, and he's got a first down, looks like, or no, not quite.
Well, a couple more yards for Spencer, who can add to the 56 yards that he gained in the third quarter. As we look at the stats at the end of three quarters, Chicago is gaining some distance in the rushing stats and really holding the passing stat not much of an increase, while holding the Denver team to a complete standstill here in the second half so far.
Chicago now with the wind at its back for the final 15 minutes of this contest, a 10-10 tie. They've put in two tight ends. They've added Doug Posen on third down and 2, and they give the ball to Kevin Long, and Long is very close to the first down. Greg Gherkin, 6'4", 228-pound outside linebacker from Northern Arizona, came up to make the hit on him, but I think he might have his first down.
Something I didn't mention when we had the stats up on the board was the difference in time. Denver has had the ball 15 minutes and 33 seconds, and Chicago 29 minutes and 27 seconds. Yeah. And most of that has been Chicago's offense on the field. So they're a much warmer offensive unit, and I think much more capable at this time of functioning in this cold weather. As you see the measurement, and they are short by about 6 inches.
So it'll be fourth down and less than a foot for the first down. And the Denver goal desperately needs right here, I think, a big defensive play.
Keith, drawing on my experience in Pittsburgh, playing in so many cold weather games, it's amazing how this weather solidifies a team. It pulls people together. They're trying to keep each other's morale and confidence up. They're trying to keep each other warm. And in a game like this, they know one big play can be the difference in those ball games. 10-10 ball game now. A field goal can be the difference. Just a long run, getting the team down there close enough to kick that field goal.
I wonder if Greg Landry won't just keep it himself. He only needs 6 inches.
I don't think he's strong enough to bull his way over.
Now he gives it along, and Long's got it. Penalty flag goes down. Now look out. Penalty flag went in a hurry. And it might have been a little movement inside by the Chicago Blitz. I thought I saw movement. Let's see about the penalty. It's apparently against Denver.
There was a little movement. I don't think there was enough movement for them to be offside, so they must have lined up offside. And, you know, when the ball's down there, but you can't see,
let's see what
where the
Bill
lines
says.
are.
Nose guard would have been the man.
Number 50 on the defense. First down.
Number 50? I couldn't see him. I didn't see him. I thought the nose guard might have been lined up offside, but whatever. It is a first down for Chicago. And a penalty. Or a whistle at least, and the penalty flag is thrown into the stack. They call it the 31 of Denver now.
Number 78 offense.
And now you got a whistle against Nick Iyer, the right tackle for Chicago. So that'll back them up 5 yards. And it'll be first down and 15 from the 36. Denver now 7 flags for 54 yards, and Chicago 2 flags for 15. Bring you up to date. New Jersey and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay leading in that ball game 25-3. It was still 10-9 Washington over Boston. Arizona beat Los Angeles last night 21-14. And Oakland beat Michigan 33-27. Here's Tim Spencer carrying over the left side and finds some daylight. That's pretty good running by the 210-pounder because he had a good leg drive despite the dreadful conditions he's working in.
He picked up about 8 yards in that run, and
it is. Washington now has scored again as John Mayberry has run it in. They lead 16-9 over Boston. The Federals trying to win their first game. And win it without Hohensee and James. Second down and 8. Picked up 7 on that last carry. Again, it is Spencer. It's going to be third down and looks like about 3 yards to go for the first down. 12 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the ball game. Fred Bassana, the quarterback for the Oakland Invaders, is really having a start. He was 24 out of 30 last night for 341 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's really got something going. Third down and 3. Well, about the 23. And it's long, and he's short of the first down. Now, got to kick it, don't you? Depends, I guess, on how close he is to his first down. Looks to me like he's going to need the better part of 2 yards.
That was a great tackle by Will Lewis coming up. The Chicago team trying to take advantage of some good blocking and being able to run just off tackle, coming up like you're going to run off tackle and breaking it to the outside. Attempted to do the same thing, and Willis just came up, nice tackle, taking the legs right out from under Long there, stopping him dead there in the snow.
Timeout is called by Chicago with 11 minutes and 50 seconds to play, and they are setting up for a field goal try. And it'll be one of considerable length. We'll be right back. It is fourth down and about 2 for Chicago. And they are going for the field goal with John Rovetto from 42 yards. 42 yards. He hit one from 27 and had one from 31. He just kicked it into the stack. It'll go into the book as blocked. But it really wasn't. Kago holds. The kick is line drive. Just cleared it. Just barely made it.
And he can't believe it.
John Rovetto, who was booed by the the home folks, when he played for the Bears, has just cleared one through to give Chicago a 3-point lead.
Al Michaels reporting from New York. Here's what happened in Boston just a few minutes ago at Nickerson Field. This 48-yard punt return by Mike Guess of the Washington Federals set up a Federal touchdown. They scored 2 plays later, a touchdown run by James Mayberry. So the Federals, who had looked so inept, scoring only 10 points the first 2 weeks combined, lead 16-9 as they go to the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, with 9.5 minutes to play at Giant Stadium, it's still Tampa Bay 25, New Jersey 3. Let's go back to Soldier Field in Chicago.
Back here in Chicago, we are at a 10-10 ball game. And they've, 13-10 ball game. And we were trying to look around to see if we could get some coverage of Rivetto's field goal to really define us how close it was. I don't think the thing went over the crossbar more than, what, 3-4 inches? Is that close?
That much.
Yeah, that much. Just a head-high line drive that went just barely over for a 13-10 Chicago lead. And here's the kickoff now for Denver. Denver working into the wind. Lonell Fee has the ball, gets outside to the sidelines, and he is shoved out of bounds. So here's Denver with fairly decent field position up past the 30. Let's go back to the field goal now. This is Rivetto from 42 yards. Here it comes.
Now, the defensive line almost, had they stood up, jumped up a little bit, probably could have knocked it down because, again, it was a low kick. And Rivetto's looking at it, his best bowling English.
Yeah, he was pleased to see that. All right, it's Denver's ball, first down, on their own 35. They trail by 3. Going into a howling wind. Wind of at least 20-25 miles an hour. Denver has been very, very conservative as Terry Miller is in, making his second appearance of the ball game. And he carries for about 2 yards.
In this ball game so far, Chicago has scored all of its points with the wind in its back. They're going towards the south end of this of Soldier Field, and it's only been Denver in the first half that was able to get a field goal going against the wind. So I'm sure they're hoping they're going to have that same kind of success.
Second down and 8. It's Miller again, and he's caught. Lassoed is a fair word from behind and dragged down. Might have lost a yard on that carry. Carl Lorch, big number 71, reached up and brought him down.
Carl Lurch, I played with Carl Lurch at USC, and he's a good man.
You played with Carl? You were on the same team? Rushing in this half, Denver -1 yard. Chicago, on the other hand, 82. So they were able to close down the clock pretty much, keep Denver away from the football with their running game. Third down and 8. Draw. Bo Matthews can't get out of the step. It'll be fourth down, and Chicago once again will get the ball back. Pretty good field position. And here's Tim Brandt with Mr. Rivetto.
That field goal was the difference in the ball game right now, John. Tell us about it.
Well, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't too easy to kick that one. I had to clear a spot off, and I'm just thankful it went through. I kicked it and kept watching, and I didn't know if it was far enough or not. But, you know, this is summer in Chicago.
It was far enough by about 3 inches.
All right. Here's the punt now with Steve Gorch. Oh, the snap is high, but he gets it out of there. Watch the wind knock it down. But it takes a pretty good roll for Denver. And Chicago man trying to cover the ball almost had it slide out from under him, and he almost lost it. Very close. Could have been disastrous for Chicago there. 9:18 to play in a ball game. The Blitz by 3.
Hi, I'm Lee Iacocca. My parents, and maybe yours, were among the millions who passed through Ellis Island on their way to a better life. Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty offered the promise of freedom. They are symbols of what this country stands for. But now they need our help. The USFL is making a donation for every ticket they sell to help restore this beloved national monument. It's a generous start, but we need your help too. Won't you contribute to this noble cause? Thank you.
Preceding announcement furnished courtesy of the United States Football League. 13-10 Chicago lead over Denver. And the Blitz with the football. First down on their own 38-yard line. A 42-yard field goal by John Rivetto, the difference. He's kicked 2 field goals in the ball game. And the handoff goes to Tim Spencer, the Ohio State rookie. And he's got himself about 3-4 yards. Let's call it second down and 6 for Chicago. Put it at the 41. Not a whole lot that time, Spencer. We have not seen Doug Dennison in the ball game, and we have not seen Jimmy Stone in as an offensive running back. The 4 running backs being for Denver, for Chicago rather, Spencer and Long, Dennison, and Stone. In the first half, a point we made some time back, he only gained 1 yard in the first half because it didn't work much. Only carried it 3 times, but he's been very busy here in the second half. Tremaine Johnson comes wide. They're playing in the snow. See it accumulating. They just can't keep it wiped off. Check off. Landry gives it to Spencer. I wouldn't think, though, you'd be checking anything. He's probably just teasing the Denver defensive people a little bit, trying to draw somebody offside on 3rd down and 4. Here comes the kicking team now. And you've got 7 minutes and 35 seconds to play in the ball game.
I think you're right. Denver doesn't really believe they're going to throw the ball, and if they do, they're not going to throw it very far.
No.
They're not anticipating the deep pass. They've got more people playing up. That's why they're hoping that their offensive line can blow open a big hole and give the running back, Spencer, in this case, who's carrying the ball most of the time in the second half, some running room to get free.
Frank Garcia is in the punt. David Martin. And he's got it spinning and runs Martin well back. David makes a good catch and gets a hole coming back upfield. And he gives Denver reasonably decent field position. Brought down by Ted Walton. That was a 49-yard punt. 13-10 Chicago, 6:56 to play in the game. Well, you need all the wrap you can use, but you'd figure George would be the last one to put that parka over his head, wouldn't he?
That's George using everything he can to get some of the emotions of his ball club high. You see Red Miller over there, and he's bundled up real good. He knows that you got to stay warm in this weather.
So frustrated, though, the way things have gone for his football team so far. First down and 10 from the 30 for the Denver goal, going into the wind. And Ken Johnson gives it to Terry Miller. Miller squirts and wiggles around. Look out. Boy, he almost popped out of there. Number 24, Virgil Livers came up and sealed him. Otherwise, Terry, the running banker from Oklahoma, might have been long gone.
We've talked about the hands freezing up, getting cold. Ball's tough to hang on to. But when your hands are that cold, these defensive people also have their hands taped up a great deal, you can't grab.
Yep.
You can't reach out and grab that jersey. It's hard to hang on to him. So if he can keep his footing, if any of the backs keep their footing and can drive through, they can break a lot of those arm tackles.
Virgil Livers, incidentally working on his master's degree. I guess he's down into his final paper. Ken Johnson keeps it, turns it upfield, and gets a first down as he runs out of bounds. And that's a good call.
That's an excellent call. Taking
courage.
Oh yeah, taking advantage of that play action in the bootleg, going back to the other side. In many cases, a quarterback is told that he can bootleg anytime he wants to. He can call that running play and not tell the back or anyone else that he's going to boot the ball. The only person that really needs to know, or what he should do at all times, a wide receiver to the side he's running the ball to should always block that corner, because that one block can mean the difference in a touchdown, or in this case, 10 yards.
That is only the 3rd first down in the ball game for Denver. Yet they have 10 points. They're very much in the ball game. First down at their own 49. That's Terry Miller again. This time a little better hit on Terry by Don Schwartz, number 28, and Stan White, number 52.
Number 83, Sammy Green, the receiver, he was downfield, and he just unloaded on one of the defensive backs. He's waiting for Terry Miller to break through and give him an open lane all the way into the end zone.
Well, Miller looks pretty quick now. He looks much more fit than he did when we saw him with New Jersey at camp there. He's now carried the ball 5 times. After having a concussion last week, he's picked up 17 yards. You have 5.5 minutes to play in the ball game. 13-10, Chicago leading. You have 3 wide receivers now. Fee, Green, and James on 2nd down and 9. That's James in motion. And Ken Johnson loops it downfield. It is complete to Vic James, a rookie out of Colorado, and it is a 1st down for the Denver Gold.
Yes, Maurice Tyler was not too happy over the sidelines. You see, again, Ken Johnson rolls out, and he finds James down there, and he just lofts it up in the air, plucks it off. Play of the linebacker's there. He funnels him right. He just runs right in front of the linebacker, drifts back there, lofts it up. Again, he caught it more like a punt than a pass.
Yeah. Well, it looked more like a punt. It was a rainbow. There was no zip on it. I don't even think it was rotating. But they'll take it. 1st down at the Chicago 39. Terry Miller. 2 yards. 2nd down. 5 minutes to play in the ball game. Remember, in the final 2 minutes of each half now in the USFL, the clock stops each time a 1st down is made. It's the college rule that applies.
Right now, that team on the field, they're talking to themselves. They're saying, we can drive the ball down the field. Forget about the bad weather. Play with it. Don't let it get into your mind too much. Execute. We get a touchdown, and we can win this ball game.
Sound like a coach. Ball's loose. Johnson covers it. He's trying to give it to Bo Matthews. It just didn't work out. There's a substantial loss.
What happened there is just a little under ball handling where he goes back and he's handling the ball off underneath, as you see there. Now, a little bit more complicated play. It takes a little more timing. And this Denver team, trying to open up their offense a little bit to get in scoring position, is now taking a few more chances. They haven't passed the ball much yet. They come out and they throw the pass to James. Now they try a play they haven't used with the under ball handling to try and get that defense off balance. A turnover.
A very big mistake.
Could have been a turnover.
Very big mistake. But look at it. It's 3rd down and 20 now. Canada's back in. 3rd down and 18 actually from the 45. So 3rd and long into the wind. Larry Canada takes the swing pass. He's got some big yardage, and the big guy is close to the 1st down. How about that? Penalty flag, back up field. That's probably a clip, huh?
Well, I don't think it's a clip. I think it's a delay of game because the whistle was being blown while the play was going on. We couldn't hear it because of the wind and everything else that's going on here at the stadium. And the play just kept going. The defense was not really reacting to it because they saw the flag go in the air.
I saw the clock when it looked like he had going to make it. I guess probably didn't.
Delay of game. Number 7 on the offense. 3rd down.
That is, by rule, charged to the quarterback, delay of game. He's got to charge it to somebody, I reckon. That is the 8th Denver penalty. So again, this is something that's terribly frustrating to the football team. They're beating themselves as much as anything. It's really snowing now. I mean, really snowing. 3 minutes and 29 seconds. And it's 3rd down and 23. Johnson's pass, that's got to be interference. It's got to be interference, and it's going to be called against Maurice Tyler of Chicago. And that will be a 1st down for Denver.
Big play for Denver. Very often the big plays aren't necessarily the long runs or the touchdowns or blocked field goals or punts, but it can be a penalty in a crucial time in the ball game. And here's one which is going to give Denver another chance. As we see, Lionel Fee just goes down, turns around, and Maurice, trying to come up and make the big play, knock the ball down, just climbed all over his back. Of course, Maurice has been getting a little anxious here and again.
Now here's where the difference is going to show up.
Pass interference. Number 20 on the defense. First down.
It is assessed from the previous snap, right? Unintentional pass interference. Unless it were considered deliberate, it would be 10 yards from the previous spot. Downfield, automatic first down. If it had been declared deliberate pass interference, they would have penalized from the point of the foul. So it's 10 yards from the previous spot, and it's first down. Most importantly for Denver, the goal keeps the ball trailing 13-10 with 3:22 to play at the ball game. And Ken Johnson gives to Terry Miller. No, he's still got the ball. He pitches it out to, who's that, a tight end? Yes, it is. Bob Nozolik, the tight end, sort of trailing the play.
It was an option play where he faked the ball to Terry Miller going to the center of the line, and he just started rolling out like it was a bootleg. But the tight end there was just trailing, coming around, and gets in position to take the pitch. Now, this is really a chancy play.
Oh, wow.
A real chancy play.
Imagine that. They got a first down out of it. They've got the football down on the 23. Spielman, who has kicked a 39-yarder into the wind, he's staying loose just in case. First down at the Chicago 23. Denver trying to win the first one of the year. It's Canada up the middle. And Larry Canada getting some blocking and some help in the middle of the line is finally dragged down by Jim Von Horst and Stan White.
That was the same play that they tried earlier with Bo Matthews that resulted in bad ball handling and the fumble, with Johnson recovering his own fumble. That time it worked with Canada.
Can you imagine running a quarterback option with a guy who's had 9 years in the NFL, with a tight end trailing the play as literally the trailing back in a roaring snowstorm with 2 minutes to play and down by 3 points, trying to win your first ball game of the season? Whatever it takes. We've got a timeout.
Al Michaels in New York with this USFL update at East Rutherford, New Jersey. Beat goes on. John Reeves, third touchdown pass of the day to Lewis Gilbert to make the score 32-3. Tampa Bay, less than a minute to go in that game at Giant Stadium. Chuck Fairbanks probably wishes he was back in Colorado. Keith?
Oh boy, that's a trouncing. New Jersey got a trouncing last week. And not a very good football team.
Well, Chuck Fairbanks said he was going to try and open up his offense a little bit more and play more aggressive defense, try and mix things up, but apparently he hasn't been able to do it with any success.
Well, right here, it's amazing that we're going to go down into the final 2 minutes with the decision in doubt in this kind of weather between Chicago and Denver. But Denver has the football, second down and 3 on the Chicago 17. Brian Spielman, Denver field goal kicker, staying loose on the sideline. If they can't stick it in for a touchdown to go ahead, then they'll go for the tie. Who knows? We might play an overtime.
Of course, you know, in weather like this, nobody really ever in the past gets out to a big lead. So the other team, even though they're behind, they're always in it. So one good drive can be the difference.
It's just what we need, overtime. Right? 13-10 ball game. Here we go on second down and 3. Got to handle the ball carefully. Denver man trying to go in motion, falls down. Vic James gets up, runs the ball, give it to Larry Canada. Canada, a big fella, just keeps on pounding and pounding. He's got something out of it. I don't think he got his first down. Not that far away from it. Maybe a yard and a half. Clock running, minute and 25 to play in the ball game. It is third down and 2. The ball is on the Chicago 15. Third and 2. Johnson over the middle. The pass caught. And it's going to be first down and goal to go as Bob Nozolik sees the football for the first time at the end of a forward pass. You've got a minute and 7 seconds to play, and Denver has called timeout.
What a great play selection by Johnson in that case. Everyone's up on the line of scrimmage expecting the run. They've got the linebackers up. They've got the big men down in the trenches prepared to stack everybody up. And he just drops a simple low pass over the middle for the first down. And now they're in great position for the touchdown.
Now the clock starts again once the change has been put down. Here's the pass. Nazolik looked like he wasn't going to have a chance to catch it.
Oh, he barely hung on to it.
Barely did.
Denver, that's their first timeout.
So Denver does spend the timeout now, but they wasted some time. But I guess under the circumstances, they don't care because they have the football first down on the Chicago 3. And George Allen and his defensive people are beside themselves on the other sideline. The crowd today, 29,178 tickets. I'm not going to say the crowd because we didn't have that many people here, but that's the number of tickets. Denver now with 2 timeouts remaining, and you can see Red was ready to go in himself. He's really jacked up. Bo Matthews and Larry Canada, the 2 big backs, the guys who are used to running in heavy traffic, are in there. Ken Johnson, the quarterback, has got to handle it securely. Don't give away an opportunity here. Ball is given off to Sidney. It is Harry Sidney, and Sidney is short of the touchdown. And it's 45 seconds and the clock running. They've got 2 timeouts remaining.
And they use one of them right now.
Right now. So 38 seconds to play in the ball game. 38.
They're going to need all of that 1 minute and 7 seconds they started out with just before this play. Even though it's only 3 yards to go in for a touchdown, we're talking about 3 tough yards. They've got the goal line offense in, the goal line defense. They're trying to stack up everything in the middle. Again, the footing is treacherous out here in the snow. Even though that one little stretch.
Let me ask you this. If you were the Blitz, would you not blitz? I mean, you might as well gamble.
I would. They don't have the wide receivers in there. They do have the tight ends. They can throw the ball, but I would go ahead and take a chance, load everybody up there and just bring them all. But you would have to bring the people on the outside wide to box anything to the outside, keep it inside, and let the pursuit get them.
Well, if Chicago stops them here, then they're probably going to load it up and go for the field goal. Wouldn't you think?
Well,
second down.
It's second down. If they stop them here, I think they'll still try for a touchdown and then wait to 4th down. This will be second down. They have 2 more shots to go at it.
You can't fiddle around because they've got 1 timeout remaining.
If they don't score here, we have no idea exactly what they're going to do. But if they don't score here on second down, I'd line them up real quick, call a play-action pass, a rollout, and just have Ken Johnson start sprinting towards the sideline. Now, if a tight end or his back gets open, he dumps him the ball for 2 yards to safe pass. If not, he runs out of bounds.
You're Josh. You ain't sprinting anywhere in this kind of weather. Well, you sort of waddle along.
Well, something that resembles a sprint.
Skate. Yeah. All right, we'll see. Second down from the 2. 38 seconds to play. 1 timeout remaining for Denver. Chicago leading 13-10. Johnson back, going to throw it, puts it up! No, incomplete. Intended for Tom Mayer. And covering was Luther Bradley, and I'll tell you, Bradley was on him like Mayer's shirt.
I know how that feels. When I was a senior at Southern California, we played Notre Dame, and Luther Bradley hit me so hard, my helmet, we had to go up in the second row to get it.
Now you've got 33 seconds showing on the clock. The clock stopping on the incomplete pass. It is 3rd down and goal to go. And they're going to go one more time. 3rd and goal from the 2. 1 timeout remaining, so they can stop it. Johnson gives it up the middle to Canada, and he did not make it. Now Denver must call timeout. But they're going to let it run a little bit, are they? Nope, they just nailed it at 22. That's the last Denver timeout.
Well, in their opening game against Philadelphia, a similar situation. Similar situation. Last minutes, last seconds of the fourth quarter, they were driving what would have been the winning touchdown. We saw it at the top of our show in the highlight package. A pass that went incomplete. Now they're in the same situation where they could win this ball game if they score a touchdown, and it's 4th down. Do they go for the touchdown, or do they kick the field goal?
Oh, you got to kick it. You got to kick it. Don't you? I would. I got to kick it.
If it's a warm day, Keith, you kick the ball. The cold is affecting this decision to some degree.
They're going to go. They're sending Sidney out. Well, how much do they have to have? It's 4th down. Is it a full yard? I can't tell from really where the snow is. He's going to go for the win, huh? Well, I got to kick it. Take my chances in overtime. 22 seconds to play. You have no timeouts remaining. You're trailing by 3. You haven't won a ball game all year. They're going to go. The Reds laid it right out there. Johnson option. Turns it upfield. Touchdown. He got it. Quarterback option for the touchdown. How do you do?
Oh.
Hey. Well, you know what? I like that. Red Miller showed some guts.
He showed more than guts. He showed everything he could possibly get out in that football field.
18 seconds left when Johnson scores.
And here you see Johnson. He's getting good blocking right there. Harry Sidney gives him the block that gets him into the end zone for the score. But trailing was another back right there. Larry Canada was trailing on the play, so that if he had to, he could have pitched the ball back on the option. But here, a great block right there. Gets him in the end zone for the touchdown.
On a quarterback option from, what, 33-year-old Ken Johnson.
2 of them.
Both big ones.
That's right.
The extra point try is no good. He missed it. Would you believe? 16-13 ball game. A big play by Chicago, and they've got a chance with the wind at the back to still force us into overtime. I was just about to say the extra point is meaningful. 4 points, you're secure. 3 points, you're not. They're not. We'll be back. Well, it looks like a scene for Christmas, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
But it ain't. 18 seconds to play in the ball game, and Ken Johnson running a quarterback's option from the 2-yard line scores the touchdown to give Denver a 16-13 lead. They must now kick off into the wind to Chicago. Lenny Willis is the deep man. Now 18 seconds. They can affect a considerable run back. Have time for one play, and then we'll see. The wind is at their back, remember. Roberto is already a hero by a matter of a couple of inches. You know, John may still own this day forcing a tie if he's given an opportunity. He kicked one a little while ago from 42 yards. He was good by about 3 inches. Here's the kickoff, and it's a high hanger. Isn't going to go very far. And it's hit by one of the Chicago Blitz. Who got it?
Chicago.
Chicago got it. And you have 13 seconds. And here's Tim Brandt with the man of the hour, Ken Johnson.
And Kenny, that was a gutsy call, one heck of a play.
Well, the coaches called it, you know, and I came down the line of scrimmage and just got to read it. You can't predetermine anything. And Stan White, the outside linebacker, just went outside with the pitch, man. I had, just like in college, no choice but to turn it up, and fortunately just got into the end zone.
Any hesitation in the call where they go for the field goal?
There was a hesitation. Stay back!
Back up to you, Keith.
Stay back!
All right, Tim, thank you very much. And Greg Landry stands up and throws. The pass is caught and dropped. by Trumaine Johnson. That's an incomplete forward pass, I think. Or call him down, which?
It's an incomplete pass. I think there's a rule he didn't have control of the ball.
Only 4 seconds to play now. George Allen prowling the sidelines. You know, George said yesterday that we've got some parity in this league that a lot of people didn't think we were going to have, that anybody could beat anybody on a given day. Now, when we started out with Chicago winning big, everybody thought, oh, George has got a bunch of older guys up there, and he's going to kick everybody around, at least for the first half of the season. It hasn't turned out to be so, has it?
It certainly has not turned out to be so, and this young Denver team is showing some spunk here.
Betcha.
Getting back and staying in this ball game. Again, they have scored most of their points. They've scored 13, 6, 3. They've scored 9 of their points going into the win.
Yep.
You know, playing with the tougher conditions and coming away with the points. And strategically, I said in the first half, if they can score points under the most adverse conditions, then they're going to be in good position in this ball game. And indeed, it turns out that they're ahead with 13 seconds to go in the ball, 4 seconds to go in the ball game.
All right, Greg Landry has the play. I don't know what you do in this kind of weather, this kind of circumstances. You just bring your prayer book with you and see what happens, huh?
And you do things like Red Miller did. You go for a touchdown on 4th down instead of kicking it. And indeed, when he had the chance to kick the extra point, which should have been a sure thing, he missed it.
Yeah.
So that could have been a field goal, and you could have lost the game as well as won it.
Absolutely. 3 wides. Throw it up, throw it as far as you can, and as high as you can, I guess. Nope. He goes in the middle to Trumaine Johnson looking for some help and doesn't get any. There's nobody. Trumaine is looking all over the place trying to pitch it back to somebody. There was nobody to pitch it back to. The game is over. The Denver Gold has defeated the Chicago Blitz in a snowstorm at Soldier Field in Chicago by a score of 16.